silent cold. Footsteps echo where the shadows go. Yeah. Slick shades on, leather coat tight, moving through shadows under neon light. Whisper clues in the velvet air. Every step's a rhythm, every glance a dare. Cold case files in the gold-plated ride. Smoke rings rise as the truth unties. Diamonds and dust, we follow the trail. Silk tie justice never fair. Midnight's losing a hip-hop haze, solving the game in a smooth R&B maze. No crown too slick, no clue too small. We catch 'em all with a swipe protocol. Eyes like scanners, touch like silk. Breathe the streets like a glass of milk. Fingerprints hung in a baseline low. Every suspect's got a place to go. Dance floors with his bartender, no secrets spill where the jasmine blow. Money talks but the cups don't lie. Another case filed under the sky. Midnight's losing a hip-hop haze, solving a game in a smooth R&B maze. No crown too slick, no clue too small. We catch 'em all with a swap protocol.
All right, everybody. All right. Thank you so much for coming in and joining me here today. Thank you. Welcome. Welcome even to the trolls. I appreciate you guys being here with me. It's Saturday afternoon. You could be anywhere, but you're here with me. So thank you so much for joining the show. Now, the reason I'm going to say this stream was prompted by a number of things. One of them was the extended coverage that I have seen of Anton Daniels over the last couple of months, right? You know, a lot of people are talking about Anton Daniels, what he says, his legacy online, just kind of how he's acted, right? And I've learned a lot in the last couple of weeks as well, right? I learned a little bit more about his origins and kind of just, you know, what he's been doing on YouTube over the last decade. Sorry, guys, I thought I had my camera on, but I've just kind of been observing because although you guys, many of you, if you know my channel in its inception, a lot of people know that I was on Fight Club before. I was in those spaces a little bit. I spent a lot of time trolling and kind of like, not trolling, but, well, I guess trolling, because anytime that there was like these extreme talking points and like degenerative things being said about black women or black people in general, I was always a person that would be disruptive of the show when that started happening. And that was my only way to deal with it, right? And so seeing a lot of people cover Anton Daniels now over the last couple of months has kind of prompted me to talk about it, not only because he's one of many, just because again I have the history and the origins in some of those spaces where his whole like thing was to start a show, and the whole topic of the show, or at least like the premise of the show, is we're gonna bash black women, at least for a portion of it, and we're also gonna bash the community and talk about how most of the community is full of ghetto people who never learn anything, blah 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 blah, right? So that's kind of, I just wanted to talk about why I chose to do this, because a lot of people are talking about Anton Daniels right now. His name is buzzing because we're kind of hitting a reflective point, right? Everyone is looking at things that have been online, the Manosphere, Red Pill, especially once they came under the light of the FBI. People have kind of just been making the connection about these different sectors on the internet where men talk about women, where they gather and they have these like hate shows, hate campaigns about women. And so, since a lot of that is coming full circle, I was like, you know what? Let me step into this conversation as well, because I think it plays into a bigger conversation. Um, I think, myself and many other people who've been witnessing everything, we have been seeing the hypocrisy, right? The hypocrisy of wanting to denigrate Black people, Black women, talk about the community and things like that, and then like spend all this time, uplifting like the pearly things, and we're gonna get into like kind of where what I'm talking about in terms of like the hypocrisy with. Uh, Denigrating Black people, Black women, and then going and praising like the worst of the worst, and then also praising other groups who speak about Black women, Black people in a negative way. So I just wanted to come full circle with that conversation here today. So let me just get in the chat really quickly, saying hello to everyone, because I really appreciate you guys again joining me here on your Saturday night, right? Saturday night, we're gonna do a little live show. We're gonna have a conversation about this, and then we'll probably, if this goes the way I'm expecting it, meaning I'm able to kind of roll the information out the way I want to, then my goal is to do like a mini series, and we're just going to kind of cover a lot of the bandits and degenerates in these different spaces and what they've said and the impact that that has on the community, especially online, right? And we're talking about from a parasocial perspective. So let me just greet everyone and thank everyone as they come in. Julian, thank you so much for the super chat. Julian said 199, said Jesus loves you. Thank you. I appreciate it. It's Easter weekend. I know people are celebrating that, so thank you so much. I know Jesus is on people's minds, so thank you. Scarred Beauty, thank you so much, Scarred Beauty, for joining me here today. She says, Flora, and thank you. I saw you rejoin, so I appreciate you being a member for as long as you have been. I think it's about 11 months. So I just appreciate your continued support. We have some more Bible thumpers in the chat. Knee Deep said we was kings and shit. Is that what you're like? Are you trying to troll me and as if that's my belief? No, I don't have that belief. So I definitely think there's certain people that come from a royal lineage, but it's not just every person. So Cameron Hayes said, "What did you do? Mostly troll." There was very little split moments that people did want to have conversations, but it was kind of like, you're just going to sit here and talk about how Black women are this or Black women are that. I'm also just going to scream and shout about bandits as well. So it was kind of on the less educated side and more on the like, I'm going to filibuster this disgusting topic. So, hey, do with that what you will with that information. Hey, Manny Kanta. I hope I read that right. Manny Kanta. Daniel Berry Sports says, hey everyone, happy Saturday. Yes, happy Saturday, happy Easter weekend if you celebrate those holidays, right? Regardless of who celebrates what, whoever is celebrating it, I hope you enjoy it. A lot of times it's just the time to come together with your family. So hopefully you guys enjoy that. Yeah, I don't know about that Jesus talk. You guys can continue to do that as long as it doesn't become disruptive and you're not like filibustering the conversation. You can talk about Jesus all you want. Just don't disrupt the conversation with like spamming in the chat. So I wanted to kind of start the conversation off on profitability, right? So the whole idea that I'm going to talk about today is how Anton Daniels, Kevin Samuels, Tommy Sotomayor, other Abba and Preach, other different people online, they have really use their platforms to kind of be that like focal point of like, hey, look, we're gonna highlight the worst of the worst, and we're also gonna have really general discussions about our group, right, about Black people in general. And I think a lot of people think that, it's just about entertainment. You have to understand, if it's entertaining to denigrate the looks, all right, so you guys are getting out of my chat because what we're now about to do is come over here now, and we're just gonna have a Jesus stream while I'm trying to talk about. We're not doing that. So you guys, sorry, you're gonna have to find a different day to come join the channel for a message. But right now, I'm not doing the whole Jesus conversation. You guys are not. You guys are not gonna be filling my chat up with messages about Jesus. Either you're gonna stay on topic or you're not. So sorry about that, guys. We got to make sure to keep the conversation on topic because people come in here sometimes trying to filibuster. So going back to the profitability of anti-black women rhetoric, right? So Kevin Samuels basically crawled, eventually started running and somersaulting so that a lot of these channels today could walk, right? There wasn't as much, or at least in a popular format, there wasn't as many channels and things like that. Guys, give me. So sorry about that, guys. I just want to make sure I don't have any like sound interruptions, kind of keep everything flowing. So Kevin Samuels, a lot of those Tommy Sotomayor, Anton Daniels, right? Obviously, eventually, all these channels kind of walked, crawled at one point, so that we can be at the point now where we're running, right? Where now these channels kind of have clickbait titles. Black women are the least desirable. Black women are the least likely to be married. Black women are the least likely to XYZ, whatever they want to say. Black women have the worst attitudes on the planet. Whatever nonsense that they want to say, they kind of started off really smooth where it's like we're pretty much going to criticize and critique the community and then moved on more to like, okay, this is going to be flat out black women hate, flat out we don't care about the children and the people in the community. It kind of steamrolled, and people at first found it really funny when Kevin Samuels and Tommy Sotomayor had these messages online. They thought that it was really funny and interesting and just exciting to just really spend all the stream talking about black women, denigrating them. We've kind of moved further past that now, where it's not even just these like big name people that everybody watches. It's run of the mill channels also are just kind of that. They know that if they put on a show and the main premise is to talk about how black women are this or that they're going to be able to get an audience, right? There's a lot of channels that most people don't even watch because they're so small and so specific to certain sectors, where that is their whole premise, right? Our topic today is going to be, we're going to talk about black women and their dating abilities, how they measure up to other women, how well they're doing in society, how many of them are single mothers. Like that's kind of like a way to garner attention, right? I talked about a little while ago. I saw a video from a psychotherapist, I think it was, where she talked about online like gang stalking and humiliation rituals, right? And I really truly think that the idea is we're gonna find a target person or point, whether it be black women in this area or black women who have children and aren't married or whatever, and we're just gonna kind of we're gonna go full throttle against that. And so it's kind of like content strategy, right? Most people now understand, let me make my topic something that's denigrating black women, and I'm going to get people to come in the chat. Whether these are really accounts of black people or not, most of us know that they are, right? Because they're in all the same typical channels. It's kind of similar. You can see people have real accounts, right? But that's the content strategy now, right? Let's put a title or something that really denigrates the image of black women or even just black people in general, and see how many people we can get in the box to come have this conversation. And yeah, they're just gonna keep pouring it on, where you're saying the worst of the worst about the community and black women in general, right? And this garners an audience. It brings people to come and talk about it. And a lot of these channels that I'm going to talk about today and the messages that they have, you guys are going to see that there is thousands of channels in the comment section, obviously claiming to be black men. We don't know which channels are bots, right? We understand that there's bots on every platform, but thousands of comments, black men, oh yeah, these women, everyone is sick of black women. Nobody wants to deal with black women anymore. Their attitudes are so terrible. I mean, comments on comments, live streams with chat box full of people saying same type of messaging, and it's almost like the messaging being targeted to black women is what is bringing people to the audience, right? There's this profitability of anti-black women rhetoric, and specifically anti-black women in black community, right? Kind of tying it together where like black women have destroyed the community or they become the biggest threat to the community. That's something Anton Daniels himself has said. So before I do a little bit too much of intro talking, we're going to get into it. And I'm going to stop frequently. So obviously, if you guys want to watch any of the videos that I have in my stream here today, I can link it in the description, and you guys can go and check it out after my stream is done, and you can review. If you want to take all the videos I talked about today and go review them, you could do that, but I'm not going to do that until my stream is over. So definitely will give you guys an opportunity, but I will be stopping. All right, so I wanted to start off with this. The reason why I wanted to start with this channel, because one, I don't know if it's AI or not, right? There's obviously been an increase of AI channels on YouTube. Someone, I believe it was Taz Exclusives, he was covering an AI channel of a black woman, just kind of the most exaggerated looks, big breasts, big butt, AI body, saying everything that black men in the red pill like to hear, right? We'll say the red pill black men, not just everyday black men, but the ones in the red pill, what they like to hear, okay? So this channel here, I don't know if it's AI, but it kind of reminded me of similar, right? Where when black women are the focal point, they're the conversation, when they're the topic, denigrating them and their imagery is a popular thing. All right, so we're going to start with this channel here, and she's actually going to be talking about Tommy Sotomayor, quote unquote, cooking a whole panel of women, right, black women. And I'm just going to say this about Tommy Sotomayor. If anybody knows who he is, then you know that he has said some of the most horrific things about black women, right? Probably what made me include him in this video, because I really don't want to give any shine to a Dusty like Tommy Sotomayor, but what made me include him in this video was a recent clip that I saw of him talking about a 12-year-old who was actually gang raped by young men similar to her age, about 12, they were a little bit older than her. They were about 15, 13, 14. So, I mean, this was a really horrific crime, but I saw him say something that made me think, like, there's no way, like, that this type of verbiage, this type of conversation is something that anybody should condone or, like, just kind of walk past and be like, oh, that's just Tommy talking. Like, some of the most despicable things I've heard him say, but it was a recent stream that kind of made me add him to this. So let's talk about this here. She's going to talk about how she believes that Tommy was cooking this whole panel of women. All right, let's get into it.
What's up, YouTube? It's your girl Dee Dee. Welcome and welcome back to the channel. So I'm back with another reaction video. Now this is another clip from Team Fatty and Ali's podcast, you guys, with Tommy Sotomayor and Angryman and others. I wanted to play a snippet from this podcast because once again, Tommy is spitting some truth. So I want to get into this clip, y'all. Make sure you hit the like button, share and like this video. Also chime in the comments below. I want to hear your thoughts on this one. Let's go ahead and get into it. Here we go.
Look, I tell you what, and there's no offense to anybody, y'all know I just talk kind of plain. A lot of times the biggest problem, especially in the black community, black women got too much voice, got too much mouth, and the fact that you let them speak and we think that like they will be saying things and won't even.
So I'm just gonna pause right there, right? Now this is a woman reviewing Tommy Sotomayor and saying that he's cooking these women. Right? And the first thing out of his mouth in the first clip that she shows is really black women are too comfortable talking. Right? What woman in this day and age, right, in the political atmosphere that we're in the environment that we have right now, the way the laws are playing out, the president that we have, what type of woman today would agree that black women shouldn't even have a voice? right? And even allude, kind of start off the clip with like, hey, this is some really, he really said something. Listen, this is what he's really saying. And that's the first thing that you hear out of his mouth, right? Black women talk too much. They have too much of a voice. Okay, just to let you know the level of memory that we're dealing with here. So let's continue.
Even know what the word means or say the word wrong and just be talking and seeking words and saying, well, it's the way that you said it. Well, you got to understand, a real man. So when a woman can tell you what a real man is, that is a problem. Because usually when she say what a real man is, it's always somebody that accepts her and won't question her. It's always a real man for that one. A real man will get with a woman who has kids.
Okay, let me stop there because once again, that is the truth. Every time you hear a woman say, well, a real man, it's always something that goes in her favor. It's always a real man when he'll take up with their...
So telling men to take care of the kids that they father, right? Because that's one of the big ones. A real man takes care of a kid that he fathers, right? Raises his own children. A real man doesn't care if you have kids because most men over the age of 30, especially black, already have kids, right? So yeah, if you're a real man and you already have kids, why would you exclude a woman who has children? What else is it that women say that quote unquote is in their favor? Because a lot of the times it's about taking care of the kids that you busted out of that you busted into a woman. And there's nothing wrong with expecting a man to take care of a child that he creates. Also, these same people, right? Because a lot of these men who say these type of things also claim to be Christians, right? Those same people claim to be Christians, but in the Bible specifically talks about what do they call a man who does not provide for a child that he creates, right? He's worse than an infidel. The Bible literally demonizes men who do not take care of their children. So how is that a negative thing for women to say makes a man a real man? Right? You need to take care of your offspring. You need to raise your offspring, right? A male has a specific purpose in a child's life, right? They help curate that self-esteem. They help to teach that young boy what manhood looks like. Right? So yes, you are only a man if you take care of the children that you help to create. How is that something favoring the woman? That's something favoring the children. As we get further in these conversations today, you're going to see that a lot of these men who talk about black women in the community, they're anti-black women and they're anti-black children. They don't care about what the children in the community are suffering, even if they themselves at one point were a child that was suffering in the community. Even if they were raised, let's say, by a bad parent or a parent who was raising them by themselves, they still will hate to see a message telling people it's bad to to not raise your children, to not be there as a man. That it doesn't make you a man if you're not raising the children that you create. You know, it's very strange how backwards, and it's not just men online anymore, it's also women now. But again, I don't know if this is a real person because this is a faceless person talking and she's reviewing a panel, which a lot of these people do. Now also on here, which I just kind of peeped it, Melanin Legacy, she's actually the woman who hosted the panel where Tommy Sotomayor also went on and said that the 12-year-old who was gang raped by those young boys actually probably was used to that type of sexual behavior. That was normal. That it wasn't actually a grape because this is what young black girls like her do, right? So the people in the panel are problematic enough, but also we don't know if the person who's actually talking on this video is an actual person. Ron Grimball said the black woman's ideology will be the demise of the black community. No, black men's inability to come together with their women to fight against white supremacy and all these things that they say are the worst, that is going to be the demise of the community, right? Instead of fighting against white supremacy and the system that you guys complain about, instead of doing that, a lot of you come online and do what Tommy Sotomayor is doing, right? That's really what's going to be the demise of the community. And a lot of you don't even see it because you're so caught up in your hate and whatever feelings that you have towards the community and black women in general. You're so caught up in that you don't even see. There's a complete blind side that none of you are focusing on the real issues, the deteriorating mental health of Black boys and men. You're not focusing on that. You're making streams about women, just like this panel. This whole panel is people from a sector who spends their entire streams talking bad mouthing Black women specifically, but also bad mouthing the community. So let's continue though. They're really just getting started on this stream.
Yes, when he will accept anything that she's offering, when he will accept single mothers, when he will accept aggressive, disrespectful women, women who talk to him crazy, women who are just gonna be whoever they're gonna be, no matter what that is. A man is a real man if he can handle an aggressive woman. Somehow you are considered a weak man if you don't want to put up with her BS. If you don't want to deal with the out of order aggressive woman, masculine, independent boss chick, woman with an attitude, a woman who got a little mouth, because that's what a lot of women say in our community. You got to.
And that's why I say I don't know if this is a real person, right? Because you hear the flair, you hear the ratchet flair in the accent, right? No, I don't agree with anything that you just said at all. I don't agree with anything that you just said about Black women or women in general, because they don't. A lot of times they'll take out that Black woman just so that they can have the conversation and gaslight that that's not who they're talking about. But this whole loud, aggressive trope is only ever assigned to one group of women, right? But I don't see it how you do, right? I don't believe that women should be soft-spoken and quiet and docile while a man does or says whatever he wants to. No, I don't. So, I mean, I'm hearing what she's saying. I just don't agree with it. And I'm wondering why a woman would be saying something like this in this day and age where women are going to prison for abortions. Like, they're literally going to prison because they live in states that do not allow abortions. Let's continue.
Be able to deal with me because, you know, my mouth could get a little slick. That's what they say. But a man who has worked on himself and refused to tolerate that talk back and that, you know, that slick tongue, oh, somehow he's weak or he can't handle a real woman. No, that's some bullshit. And they know it. So this is.
And my problem also with that language, what women are you running into that is always loud and she's always having to fight and squabble with you? A lot of men like to talk about the attitude of women, but they don't like to talk about what they do to induce those attitudes. Why is it that every woman that you're meeting, you're having to squabble? What happened to the romance and men actually going out of their way to pursue a woman with dignity or respect, or actually even just trying to pursue her with some swag? These men don't even have that. Because how is it that you're fighting and squabbling with women that you're romantically interested in? Because that's what, at the end of the day, that's what we're talking. We're talking about romantic relationships. They're talking about women that they're talking about wanting to dominate women in relationships, and I don't even understand what that has to do with the greater population of women in general. Not every woman acts like what they're describing here, or even says any of these things. In my opinion, it's not that a lot of these dudes are out here thinking women are aggressive, masculine, brutal, or anything like that. I've never truly been called that by somebody that I intentionally dated. I've never been called that. Never. It's always been, oh, they want to play around, or they want to try and keep you as an option, or they want you to stick and wait around for some time frame that they determine that you're perfect, that you've done everything that they feel like you need to. It's more of men wanting women to audition before they actually even put any effort. I think that's more than what I hear from women than anything. It has nothing to do with being able to quote unquote handle a woman. They just can't handle hearing no. All right, let's continue.
Why these so-called women have a problem, because men don't want to deal with their foolishness and are not accepting anything from them. So now they're having a hard time finding these real men because these men don't want to deal with their foolishness. That's just it. He's absolutely right. Let's continue.
Haven't y'all heard that? How many of y'all Black men heard that? A real man will be with a woman that's got kids. Who says that? With kids?
I said the same
What's
thing,
gonna
Tommy.
be next? A real man.
My thing is, does he have kids? Because if you have kids, then you should go and be with somebody who has children. Like, truly, I don't think that anybody who doesn't have kids should be trying to get into a romantic relationship with someone who's childless. There's too many hurdles that you're going to have to go through. Right? Somebody who doesn't have a child, they're not even going to be able to see things. They might be able to try and be empathetic with you, but they're not even going to have the same lifestyle. So yeah, I think anybody who has children should go after somebody with kids, regardless of the gender. Because a lot of these guys who are not one or even two-time baby daddies, they don't want to date women with kids. And I'm just like, well, why are you coming over here to us that don't have children for? We don't want you either. So you saying you don't want the woman just like you that you can go and build a blended family with. The woman who don't have any children does not want you either. So who are you really going to date? And a lot of the time, these men will fold for the right-looking woman with a kid. So it's more of an internal struggle, a battle within themselves, I think, more than anything else. Because these guys will see a woman that has kids that is gorgeous, and they will fold like a lawn chair. And that has nothing to do with women. Even women who look regular, average, good, they have no problem getting a man when they have a child. Because most men know, once you get to a certain age, most people are going to have kids. Most people are going to have kids. And the few people who are over 30s and they don't have kids, let them find each other. And the rest of y'all keep having blended families together. That's how I believe it should be. It's not about one taking the other's kids and not accepting. No, people who have kids, y'all all go to a dating club together. They should segregate us in the dating world. People who have kids and people who don't. And I think most people who don't have kids feel that way about dating. We don't want to date somebody who already comes with a ready-made family. We don't want to be with them because a lot of times there's going to be sacrifices that have to be made. All right, let's continue though.
You should get what somebody got. If you're real, it's really stupid. But you'll hear black women talk like this, and they'll be real confident being in public, being real ignorant.
Oh, he's straight up. The thing about Tommy is he can't even hide his hate because he straight up will call black women by their name. He'll say black women this, black women that, black women, black women, black women. He's probably mad that black women probably finally got him off of YouTube, where he can never have a channel again. He's not able to sustain a channel. Doesn't matter what he calls it. He had a bunch of channels with different names, but I think the fact that he does call out black women, which a lot of these channels now know to change their language, the fact that he actually specifically calls out black women is probably what made him easy to get off of YouTube, at least in terms of having his own channel. All right, so let's continue.
Why would you want to know how many people I've slept with? Well, I want to know if I'm throwing my hot dog down a hallway.
You know, every time I hear this conversation, I'm always like, do we need to go back and do a birds and bees conversation? Like, do I really need to sit down here and talk about elasticity? Can I talk about the fact that men are the biggest carriers of STDs and they're rarely the ones to go and get tested? Can we talk about that? I want to know why I'm throwing down my hot dog down the hallway. 9 times out of 10, women are in danger sleeping with men. That's where they get the majority of the diseases that exist. She should be asking you, who did you sleep with? When was the last time you've been tested? Can I see clean blood work for you? But you're worried about hot dogs down the hallway. This purity argument with men, it gets weirder and weirder. So a 28-year-old woman, you're going to sit here and try to clock how many men she slept with so you know what? The size of her vaginal cavity? Is that what we're trying to measure right now? I mean, there's nothing more degenerate than trying to have this high school, elementary body count conversation when you're almost 50 if he's not already 50.
Oh my God. Wait a minute. No, he did not. Did that man say throw a hot dog down the hallway? Yes, he did. Baby, listen. Oh my God. Let me tell you something. They don't like it when he starts talking, baby, because he be telling the truth. Let's continue.
And treated you like a human trampoline. That is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Why do you care if you like me? I don't know you. You know why we on this first date, lady? Because you had a fat ass and
you know, when you go and you find, no shade to anybody on this panel, right? Like, seriously, we're all here just doing content. I don't want anybody to think because I'm covering this and how I'm speaking about them that I have meant like hate for anybody on this panel that I'm mentioning. I don't. But this is a panel full of people that somebody just plucked off of IG. And that's all these panels take nowadays. You don't need anybody with a brain. You don't need like a Cynthia G, somebody who's a quick talker, or even a Nyla Says, because she don't even bother with that type of content anymore. Like, you don't have those type of personalities online anymore who are quick, smooth, silver tongue, because they don't want that. They want somebody. They want to get a panel of women who are just gonna sit there and look pretty, or who's just gonna put their Instagram hashtag and their cash up there, and they're looking for donations, and that's pretty much what the type of people that they're finding. That's what they do now. Oh, super panel, what they call it now. Let's find 5 girls on IG that have a little bit of a following. That maybe they're gonna be streaming from different platforms, or maybe because they're trying to grow their platform, they're gonna sit here through this degeneracy and this ignorant shit that they're gonna say. And that's what they do. Most of these channels, that's how they scout for talent. Back in the day, it used to be people who actually had something to say about the subject. They were the people who were online, and they were the people who would go and have conversations with other people and build little networks where they're having these conversations. Now, this is what it is. There's a formula. Get 4 or 5 women to sit on a panel with the most ignorant, disastrous men that you can think of, and they're not going to say anything because they know they're getting paid to just sit there. They're getting like $50 to $75 to just sit on the panel quietly and not be disruptive. And for them, they feel like they're building a brand. When that's the people you have on a panel, of course, you're just going to have them sitting there while Tommy yells off of his tongue. He can't be on a panel with any woman, I could say, that has half of a brain cell, because she will challenge what he's saying, and she'll drag him. Right? That's not the environment that he wants to be. He wants these channels with these young people who are trying to get their channels off the ground, or people who don't really know anything about these type of subjects, or they don't care, and they're just really trying to build an online following. And that's, again, no shade to anybody that's on this panel.
Titties, and I said, let me get your number. I didn't know a damn thing about you, didn't know your last name, probably didn't remember it unless I put it in my damn phone. And usually, y'all tell me if I'm wrong. When I put your name in my phone, it's Big Booty Betty. I met at the mother.
Mind you, this is a 40, 50 plus year old man, right? This is a grown old adult male. He's not young by any metric. He don't look young either, right? He, for all intents and purposes, this man has slammed into the wall, right? No hairline, no hair even, just bald all the way back. Overweight. He's obviously not skinny. He's obviously not an intellectual. This is somebody who, he supposedly has an LMHC. He's supposedly a licensed mental health counselor. And this is what he spends his time online saying to black women. Imagine if you had him as a practitioner and you're a black woman.
That's how I labeled your ass. So for you to say that and tell that mother lie that I'm supposed to be trying to get to know anything else, no, I need to know if I'm serious about Big Booty Betty. How many other Big Booty Betty? Because when I met this in Publix, I know 39 in aisle 7 was trying to get her number too. So I want to know how many of them she let hit. So therefore, I can either be the hit, or I could be the take you on a real date. Because I ain't taking your mother ass to chops when every other done chopped that. So it's a good question for me to ask.
Hot dog down what?
Right, it's a hot dog down the hallway. Can't do no damage.
He's stupid. But look, but he ain't lying. And that's what I'm saying. When you telling the truth and you making people laugh at the same time, a lot of these women don't like it because they think it's bashing women. No, it's telling the truth. It's funny as hell, but he's telling.
No, it's not funny at all, because this is a 50-year-old man. No other community would think that a 50-year-old man talking about recklessly sleeping with women and how he doesn't take women seriously, and all he does is get phone numbers and save them as big butt. No other community finds that stuff funny, right? No one. They only know that they can get these type of conversations off because, first of all, there's going to be black men online who are very comfortable having these conversations. right? Very comfortable talking about black women and everything. Yeah, she's very ignorant. If this is even a real person, right? Because we've been seeing lately, there's a lot of AI channels that are coming up. And so if this is even a real person, which she has that kind of accent to me that is giving like this is a fake, like a fake voice. Very ignorant though. And women are just mad because they know it's true. Everybody's over there laughing. I wouldn't be laughing. That white woman up there, sure, her Botox is not even letting her laugh.
Telling the truth. You know, and they don't think that a man should care about your body count. He shouldn't care about how many men and smash and did everything they want to do to you. You just want him to come in and take you seriously and spend money on you and do all this for what? Like, no, no, it don't go like that. It don't work like that. And I think a lot of women are realizing that. But they still are in denial about it. You still are delusional about it. But it's just how men think, and there's no way around it. And so either once again, women are gonna wake up and
look, that's just how men think. Men are just gonna use you up and wait for you to be a virgin and not care about you. It doesn't matter. There's nothing we can do. That's just how men are. That's not normal. That's not anything that a normal woman with any type of education or intellectual prowess is gonna say is normal, right? And honestly, I'm starting to understand why. What's her name that said the whole "you don't date a bus driver" thing? She now I understand why she went and had a baby by herself. Because if you're intellectual, if you're even remotely intelligent, this is the mindset that a lot of these type of people expect you to have. That you have to have this purity, while that group who talks about it the most is literally some of the nastiest, right? Some of the most philandering. I'll leave it at that. Let's continue.
realize it for what it is, or just keep going your own way, because most men ain't gonna take you seriously. Let's continue.
Anyway, you sitting up here saying these things that make no damn sense. You know who making these arguments? Hoes. Hoes is out here trying to make arguments and tell the shit they thinking. You shouldn't care about this. If I don't, when I buy a car, I want the Carfax report. When I get a bitch, I want the Catfax report. Let me see the Catfax. I want to know who bid it.
So now women are vehicles, right? Now we're a car, and you can literally talk about women like we're objects, and our mileage, quote unquote, is something that it has to be measured. What again? Either this is a mammy or this is a fake account. And when I say fake, meaning like AI, I've heard YouTube has been trying to get rid of the AI channels, but either this is a AI channel or this is just a pure mammy. Because there's no way a woman today with even half of a brain would think about that. I think if we're talking about both sexes, absolutely, you shouldn't want to be with somebody who's just sleeping around. Obviously not. But to sit here and try to have body count conversations, nah, first of all, that's childish. Second of all, if you really are worried about who a woman has slept with throughout her lifetime when she's in her 20s and about to be 30 or whatever the age that you find her is, there's something wrong with you. There's something truly wrong with you. No one's saying that you should be dating the town bicycle, right? I get it. You shouldn't be sleeping around. That's obvious. Nobody wants a whore, man or woman. But we're talking about men who literally want to. Oh, how many men have you sold? 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, you already got too many bodies, and then they want to put a number on what they think is too much for a woman. But men, they can sleep with anybody, and women are just supposed to be okay because they're the man. It's weird, right? We all know nobody wants to date a whore. Nobody wants to date a whore of any gender. But when you make these statements like this, that this is what people want and they're looking for people to just accept them. No, most people who have a brain are sleeping with people that they like. And if it works out, it works out. If not, they move on to another relationship. It's performative though. Cause that girl, that person who's laughing, she don't know a damn thing. Again, most of these guys, they get women off of IG to be on their panels. So it's not like these people are privy to the conversations that happen on Black YouTube. They're just people who are just looking to make their own way into the online space. And so, yeah, they'll sit there on a panel and think that this is a joke and not realizing that this is like a pattern of these type of channels. I've seen some of these panels where the women feel blindsided. After a couple of streams, they're like, wait, the whole point of this show every week is going to be for us to denigrate black women or women in general? Yeah, you just didn't see the play, right? You didn't see the play because you're not from this space, or maybe you're just worried about building a brand online and you don't really care what people are saying, right? Maybe you lack the integrity to care in the first place. But yeah, it's inauthentic people who are just there just to have their name on the screen. And they know that that's what the case is because they go and they find people on IG. They'll go and find people on other people's panels. Things like it's very the way that they find people to come online and have these conversations is very surface level. Yeah. If we're talking about both ways, absolutely. I think any person who's compulsively just sleeping around and have multiple 20 plus partners a year, like that's an issue. Absolutely. But I'm talking about the body count conversation, like trying to be like, oh, what's your body count? Or asking, like, that's a problem. That's a major issue. So, and at the end of the day, you're going to have to see people, you have to take people at face value. Either a person's sleeping around or they're not. And I think a lot of times you can tell by the behavior of a person if they're a philandering person that sleeps around, who doesn't take their sexual health seriously, who doesn't even tell you to use condoms or try to use condoms with you. Like, you can tell by people's habits. All right, let's continue.
This mother. Why? Because I'm about to go in it. And what they want men to do is not respect themselves and their bodies.
Right.
That's why
but you already don't respect yourself, right? If you're just going up in any woman that you meet in the grocery store or that you meet in the gym and you're just going and sleeping with them, no protection, busting in them, no protection, then you're already not respecting yourself. So whether you know what her body count is or not, the respect is already gone. You have none. You're sleeping around with people, whether you think you're cool for doing it or not, there's already none for yourself. Let's continue.
Ask you to put a condom on and you be like, I don't know about this. She gonna look at you like something's wrong. How you fellas will feel if a woman tell you, take that condom off on the first date?
They don't even ask for men to put it on anymore, do they?
Right. But you would think if you put it on and she said, take it off.
This is another question of who are you sleeping around? Oh, I just saw a comment that caught my attention. Black Proud said, if you notice, he doesn't have women from Portland, because they will not, first of all, he would have to say everything he's saying in his language, and he wouldn't be able to get it off without one of them being like, okay, shut it up. I don't want to hear none of that. He wouldn't be able to. Right? People from other cultures, they don't have these same type of, and even if they are going to have a conversation about sex and relationships, they're not going to be on these panels, groups of women, especially in Portugal, which is Europe, again, Western society, talking about, oh, black women shouldn't be talking, they're talking too much, or, they're this or that, and agreeing with that and sitting on these panels and you'll never catch them doing that with anybody from a Portuguese culture. Ever. That's why a lot of the times these people who grift, they have to come to these spaces where it's these niche Black American spaces. That's where they have to go. Because even like Africans online and stuff like that, they have their Niger movies, they have their Nollywood, all that, but they don't have panels online talking about how Black women are the biggest enemy or threat to they don't do that. They would never. That's something that Black people do in America. Like black men are the ones who mainly are doing this type of conversation and rhetoric, but that's something they do in America. That's not like a global conversation that Black men are having online. That's just from my perspective. Somebody can tell me otherwise if you think so, but from what I see, not necessarily. And not to say that the mindset isn't there, the conversations are just not happening. James said, what in the NAACP is going on in here? That's an interesting thing to say right now.
You be like, whoa!
You gonna be like, how many niggas you told to take that? You gonna be like, how many niggas you told to take that condom off?
Right! It's just like me.
Huh? I think they don't understand that very few things are new under the sun.
They want us to think that everything they do with us is the first time. It's only us. We're so special. It's never been done before.
Now, they treat black men like this. That's why being raised by so many black women and no black men in the household, that's why we are subjected to listen to someone like that young lady and think she's saying something intelligent. But a father know what she's saying is stupid immediately. Somebody tell me I'm lying. If you was raised around some men, you know what the she said was ignorant. Hell, she know it was ignorant, but she know like and she can talk you simple in the. That's all it is.
Because he just be talking. And notice she clipped this at the moment where he just denigrated black women. So she didn't share any part of the video where anything what he was saying and who he was speaking about at that moment would have been contextually accurate or whatever. She didn't share that. She only shared the message where he was denigrating black women. So this is what makes me think this is not even a real channel, that this is somebody doing a voiceover, or maybe it's a real mammy who doesn't feel comfortable putting her face out there because she knows that there are people who are going to call her to the table and be like, hey, you're just on here agreeing with men. Like, that's literally all you're doing. You're not having an intellectual discussion. You're not bringing a unique viewpoint. You're just agreeing with the worst of the worst type of men.
See, just as much as men do, so they're out here trying to do what they think the majority of the men are doing. They think that men are out here just sleeping with anything when that's not true for the majority of men, but women do believe. That's not true for the majority of people, right? There's outliers, right? There's those people out there, men and women, who are sleeping around. They have multiple partners, 50 plus, 30 plus, 20 plus even. Right, whatever, they have multiple partners. There's those few people, but most people in their lifetime aren't sleeping with more than 8 people. Most people. That's not gender. When that came out, it was not gender specific. Most people are not sleeping with more than 8 people. She's a real life married mammy. Oh my God. You know this channel? Oh my God. So, but you see, this is the other thing that annoys me. Of course, it's going to be a married woman to get on a panel to be talking about what she thinks that single women are out here saying and looking for. Of course. Because 9 times out of 10, she's going to tell you that the only single women that she knows personally is going to be single women who are her friends and things like that. So do you guys, let's be real, do you guys really think that she is calling her friends to the carpet and telling them, hey, you're sleeping with too many people, or hey, you're being a skink or a whore? No. A lot of these women who talk like this about single women, their own friends, they'll watch their own friends make the worst decisions and won't say a goddamn thing. Or even worse, they'll be there supporting them. And then they'll get on their soapbox trying to talk to single women about what we're doing. No. I'm tired of married women, especially married women who 9 times out of 10 are operating as married single women, are literally over here talking about what single women are doing. Worry about your own marriage. Marriage be all detrimental, causing all types of hypertension, and they be worried about what single women are doing. It is irritating. Like, what? New Hampshire Red Blood said 8. Yeah, right. Most women and men are not sleeping around like that. It's only because you guys be on here watching corn all day. That's why you guys think women are just getting ran through every night, every day, different men every night. 9 times out of 10, most people are not sleeping around like that. Well, that would make sense, because what woman would want to be friends with a woman, first of all, who calls herself female, but then also who talks like this about other women? I wouldn't want to be your friend either. Go hang out with your husband and your kids, since you think that that's a reason for you to align with men against women. Like, it's a weird thing, and it's weird because he started out the video saying that black women have too much of a voice. Like, so basically, you shouldn't even be talking right now. You shouldn't even be recording a live stream where you're even saying this, because you're talking too much. But of course, when women are agreeing with them, they can talk all day. That the majority of men are out here just sleeping with anybody. So they're out here trying to one up the men. You're trying to compete with the men and go do what they do. Oh, they could do it, so why can't we? And this is their argument. So if a man can do it, we should be able to do it. Why we look down upon, if we go out here, we're promiscuous, but men could do it. But you're looking at a small percentage of the men that actually do that, that'll sleep with anybody. and knock them up and put their seed all over the place. And you just thinking that's a flex. If you don't think it's good, why are y'all competing to go out and do what the men are doing? So now women have been convinced and hoodwinked into
Y'all. Who's y'all? First of all, we're like, I want married women to stay in their lane. Talk about married women and married women's struggles. I want you guys to talk about how you guys are the most depressed population of women. I want you guys to talk about how married women are the ones highly using antidepressants. I want to talk about how married women are kind of doing everything by themselves the same way single women are. Or some of you are splitting bills and popping out babies for them. Whew. Whew. But worry about what single women are doing. That's what be crazy to me. Y'all are literally in the most ghetto existence. Child and paying bills with your own money with them. It used to be a time where the man is taking care of the household. The woman might be working, but her money was to take care of herself, to keep herself up, to buy little things for the kids, to add on to the household. Now, not only do these men want you to split everything down the middle with them, but they also want you to have kids and take care of that kid and be the sole, a lot of the times, the main caretaker for that child. And all they got to do is bring home a little, like half of the bacon. And even for the ones who are bringing all the bacon home, if they're bringing all the bacon home and you birth the kids and they're still expecting you to do all the child labor by yourself, that's still not good enough for me. I feel like if they're gonna expect that, they should be expecting more from you. Miss Garvey said, "Promise you the same, but God got another man's wife pregnant now." Oy. Listen, if we really started getting into the nooks and crannies of even that story, right? The Immaculate Conception, there's some things are not enough even there, right? If we were to be very literal. All right, let's continue.
thinking that being promiscuous, going out doing threesomes, getting ran through by anybody is a flex now. It's empowerment.
So let me just say this, right? First of all, most of the times that we hear about a woman doing a threesome, it's because that's what her partner wants and is kind of expecting out of her to maintain the romance and the flair in the relationship. Most women aren't just out here like, oh, it's Saturday. Let me go have a threesome. 9 times out of 10, it's a man who's pushing for women to have that. First of all, we know that because we saw, what's her name? Damn, she got the short hair now. Tiana Taylor. We saw Tiana Taylor when she was married to Iman Shumpert bragging about that. We saw another man we recently talking, and mind you, the people who agreed and said, "Oh yeah, we should be doing that," their relationships didn't last. Those are the people out here having threesomes. Most women aren't just out here like, "Oh yeah, let me go have a threesome." Like what? We give birth, but we're the rib. Like we really try to get into the logic of some of this ideology. We'll be here all day and we'll never get to a real conclusion. Let's continue though.
No, you're free.
And also, let me just say here, when I tell you that most of these people who come on these panels don't give a damn about what they're talking about, let's look at Rebecca, right? The white lady right here. She's been looking down for some time. Literally, lips aren't even moving, barely emoting from her face. The mammy's laughing up there. The one with the iPad, she looks like she's not even paying attention. And then these two are literally just smiling. They're giving like a camera-ready smile. They're not even having a conversation with anybody who cares about what they're saying. Yeah, I think that was her own kink. She always liked women. Yeah, I mean, maybe that was her own kink. That's possible. But she talked about doing it with him. So I feel like either she told him like this is something I want to try, and he's like, well, we do it together, or it was something that he wanted to do because he knew that she was interested in women, and so it was something that he tried to get them to do together. And then when she didn't want to participate, he kept doing it with those other women, right? Because they talked about that in the relationship and how he was unfaithful, and he kept doing things on the side that she wasn't okay with. So yeah, I think that their relationship was there was a little bit more going on there, because there was allegations that at one point she was actually like a lesbian straight up. I don't know how true any of that is. Again, it's all alleged. But she does admit to I think being bisexual at some point. So obviously they both had an interest in it, but I think that he went over the line. I think that she probably told him that and he ran with it. Like, it's just one of those things where it has to be like a genuine interest of both of you, not just he hears you say it and now like he's pressuring you to do it all the time. I think that's how it was with them, because I think she wanted a what do you call it, a monogamous relationship, and he wanted to be able to sleep with other people, but he wanted to mask it as like, oh, let's do a threesome. Yeah, she does give stud sometimes. She gives pretty stud though. When she was younger, when I saw her on My Sweet 16 or something like that, she looked way more tomboyish. But now she's kind of got like that look where she has short hair, but she still kind of has like a sex appeal kind of look where she looks a little bit more feminine, more than just like a tomboy. So yeah, she's like in between. Like sometimes she looks straight up like a stud, and then other times I'm like, huh, okay. I see you. Like you're growing into your look as a like woman or whatever. So she probably honestly dabbles in both of the playbooks and she doesn't care. But again, once these men know that you're interested in certain things, they will try to play on that and like use that as a way to step out of the relationship. Yeah, I like her music too. Like the album that she did where I forget, she's like laying down or something like that. That was a really good album, or like IP, really good album. She's very talented. But she talked about her relationship, and she was actually one who would brag about being comfortable with all that, and like, oh yeah, like me and my man and our girlfriend or whatever. Like she would brag about that. But it later came out that I think he was like trying to step around that part of their relationship and sleep with people after, and that's where it became embarrassing. So. All right, let's continue. This video is almost done because I want to keep moving on. Tommy is just the beginning, right? Once we move past Tommy Sotomayor, I do want to go to one TMZ video where somebody actually tried to check Tommy Sotomayor for some of the things he was saying, and he wasn't a black person. So we'll look at that. Well, actually, one of them was like biracial, but it wasn't like anyone in like a sector or a panel. It was actually a mainstream media person who tried to check him about it. So we'll get into that video after this one. What, Graves, are you okay? Every time I see you in a chat, you be looking like you be sounding drunk. Like nothing you say makes any sense. Women are strongy, independent, then man ain't fine. I don't know. Somebody translate that. Maybe it's Jamaican or patois or something, but
Free. You're empowered to do whatever you want to do. And the main thing you want to do is go throw that cooch on anybody you can in the name of empowerment. And that makes you feel good. And they got to stop telling these young women that their 20s are for them to play around and sleep around, because that is not benefiting them whatsoever. It's really not.
Who's telling women that? I need this DD reactions. I need her to pull up 2 videos of somebody telling women to sleep around in their 20s. One person. I want one video of a woman or any person telling women to sleep around, because none of us have ever heard that in our life. Oh yeah, go sleep around with men. Literally never. So who told you that? Because you're married, so who told you that? I just read it because like this is the type of men who come in here and be trying to disagree, like can't even phonetically put a sentence together. Let's continue.
But if it gets to the point where I want to have something serious, I'm going to ask questions. It was a shame, Ali, that she didn't understand. I used to love giving that analogy of business. How you going to tell me I should be more strict about where I put my business than where I put my penis? You a fucking idiot. No offense, young lady. I'm just saying a idiot says that. Think about how many black women y'all have heard say this word. They got a baby by. You ask, are y'all getting married? Nah, that's a big step. Hold up. You can get married in Vegas.
So that's not the case. First of all, Yeah, yeah, it's Jazz Noel is married as well, right? As far as I know. So they can't even. So these married women who are coming to talk about single women, they can't even get married women to agree with them. Like this is what be sending me. Just to agree with men, they will say anything, even things that aren't even reality. But just the fact that he said here, like, because before that girl put her big old mouth in the camera, he said something that really irritated me. I'm gonna play it back. I got distracted by a comment.
How you gonna tell me I should be more strict about where I put my business than where I put my penis? You a fucking idiot. No offense, young lady. I'm just saying a idiot says that. Think about how many black women y'all have heard say this word. They got a baby by a you ask, are y'all getting married? Nah, that's a big step. Hold up.
No, I've never heard that. And when I did hear that, it was coming from the man who said he wasn't ready. 9 times out of 10, these men are more comfortable impregnating a woman and having a child with her than they are getting married. So no, that is not ideology that comes from women. That is not ideology that comes from women. Some of these women beg for marriage. Like they will beg these men to marry them, and the man still won't. He still won't. Um, Scarby said, "I don't know if she's married. I thought I remembered Taz saying she was married, but I'm not. I'm not 100% sure. I'm not 100%. I think she is, but she's not like a bird brain married woman. So meaning like she doesn't see it the same way as a lot of these people who come on here try to brag about their marriage. Like Lady Di is one that comes to mind. Like she's one that comes on here, and she's actually a stepmother to a man who had multiple, to a man's kids who had multiple. He had already had multiple kids before, and she became their stepmother, and they still don't even have a kid together, and she's married to him and splitting the bills. So she's actually even dumber than most of the married women who be on these panels because she not only is she a stepmother, but she's also going 50-50. Oh, in a relationship. Okay, that makes sense. But even then, like some of these mammies will even come up there with a relationship and brag on that and use that and talk about how submissive and feminine they are, even just on a relationship. And they'll be like, "Oh, men don't like aggressive masculine women. My man likes me to be blah blah blah." So yeah, they'll even come and brag on their relationships. But I do remember she was definitely partnered. I just don't know if it was actually married. So. All right, let's continue. There's a few minutes left on this video, which actually, I think I might skip this because it looks like she clipped him reacting to a particular thing that was said, and it's not even in this video, which is stupid. So you literally just clipped him talking crap to black women, and you said, yeah, let me make some content out of that. So I'm going to move on to the next video, which I mentioned to you guys a couple minutes ago, that is a video of Tommy Sotomayor going on TMZ, being a pure coon, and they actually didn't have any positive words for him. They actually didn't like what he was saying and how he speaks about his own community. So let's hear what TMZ had to say about Tommy Sotomayor's rhetoric and kind of just what he says and how they feel about it. All right, let's get into it.
So I generally don't ask questions this way, but I just have to because to me, it's so obvious. Explain to me how this is not racist.
Well, first off, I think it's racist just to assume that apparently black people own looking like monkeys. Apparently, we're just supposed to own it. So if someone says we look like a monkey or that they put us on a monkey body or like what they did with the advertisement where the black kid had a monkey outfit, uniform on, just like the white kids did, it's somehow racist. So blacks should view themselves as monkeys. And anytime someone calls us that or puts us on the head of a figure, that we're supposed to be immediately outraged that this person is doing this. And let me explain to you.
Tommy, I'm sorry, I can't just let that go without asking you something. Have you learned anything or studied history?
And I love that they dealt with him like this because every time I would hear anything come out of Tommy Sotomayor's mouth, I had the same question. Like, are you ignorant? Have you studied history? Do you know anything? Or are you just a big, fat, funky blob of nothing? Yeah, TMZ is way out of line, but they love these online like MAGA bandit self-hating makers. Like they love them. They will definitely interview them, but they will make sure to let you know that they don't agree with anything that these weirdos are saying. And I think here when they asked him that, it was almost a facetious question like you're a black person and you have the audacity to come on here and say something so ignorant, you know, and so because you said that I'm gonna talk to you like you're stupid and ignorant. Like that's literally how they're treating him here, and that's kind of what made me enjoy the video. Because otherwise, even like Fox News or whatever, they love bringing up black pundits who go online and talk crap about the community. They love that. But this was not that here for some reason, and I enjoyed it. So let's continue.
In this country is around slavery and the depictions of black people in this country during slavery?
No, I have. Yes, sir.
Okay, and you know that that was a common thing to equate black people to apes or monkeys. And usually it was a reference to they came from Africa, so they must be apes and monkeys. Are you aware of that?
Yeah, well, the idea of they came from Africa, there's a lot of animals that came from Africa. As a matter of fact, all of the ones that were depicted in the video, you guys didn't show the whole
Tommy,
video.
come on,
Biden
man.
was also a monkey. Well, Biden was a monkey in the video too, so why aren't we outraged? As black people, we have carte blanche to call anybody anything we want. And I'm from the
That's
South.
not true. That's
Well,
not true.
who can't we
No,
call names?
it's not
Y'all have
true.
had.
It's not even remotely true, right? Because even when black people call each other the N word, they get criticized and they get dragged. And they say, well, if it's such a bad word, then why do you like calling each other it? So, no, right? Black people do not get carte blanche, right? He's loving to use this white ideology and this fucking white rhetoric to make his. No, we do not get carte blanche to just say anything. Yes, he is a sellout. He's a sellout. He's a buffoon, coon, tap dancing bandit. Yes, all of that. And that's why he's there. Make no mistake. They would not have him on their channel if he wasn't going to say some out of line bullshit. Black people do not have carte blanche to say anything. That's not even. First of all, we can't even call the police. We literally can't even call the police because what happens? They come to our house and they think we're the ones committing the act. Yes, it was a way to dehumanize black people to justify slavery. Exactly. We do not have carte blanche to say anything. So the fact that he's trying to use this language, have his little cowboy hat on, and talk like a try to use his more white scent, right? Because we talk about black scent all the time. But let's also talk about these coons here who like to try to what do we call it? They like to try to code switch when they're around white people and think we don't peep it. First of all, you look like a little bag of dookie with a cowboy hat on. And it has nothing to do with your color. You just look like a bag of dookie. Being called poop or bag of dookie is not something historically racial. That's just what you look like. Jesus, she said cool. He is though. Like he's literally a raccoon. And when you hear all the things that he says about the community like throughout time, I'm not gonna talk about him just today. But if you've heard everything that he says, like he's one of the worst. That is definitely he's picture perfect coon. Let's continue.
People on your show that call white people aliens, that call white people devils. No one gets in trouble on national television for calling a white man a devil.
I mean, a devil is not
just a bad person.
A devil doesn't equate to race. It equates to character.
No, we actually, if you and if the person
And
beside
that
you
all
tell you
and that white man cooked him with one sentence. When we call white people devils, we're not talking about them being pasty pale devils. We're talking about their character. We're talking about the evils that they justify, right? We're talking about the fact that they will overlook systemic racism and harm that's happening to other groups in order to continue to benefit themselves and their own groups. That's when we're talking about when we call them white devils. We're not calling them white devils because of their skin color. But he's so caught up in his coonery that he cannot see nothing past the cooning that he's doing.
truth, we actually believe that the white people are devil, and many believe that we're aliens. We
Well,
believe
I'll give you
Tommy,
an no, hold on. I can give him an
this
example.
argument.
Tommy, don't put me in your. I'm not trying to.
Well,
I'm not shoulder to shoulder with you.
You asked me though, but you asked me if I knew a historical context,
Right.
and so when I give you
Well,
one
I'll give you.
back,
But we're talking. You're trying to talk about calling white people devils. No one's saying that that's okay, but that is a different thing than what we're talking about.
What I'm trying to say is, as a black person, I refuse to believe that every time I see a depiction of a monkey and a white person doing it, I'm supposed to be outraged and automatically just upset. So I'm just agreeing that this is the depiction of me and my people.
It's so ride or die with certain people in Trump's camp that can't you bend the knee on one issue and still be a Trump supporter? Isn't this just one too far?
Oh, no, listen, I am one, if you watch my show, I criticize him as well. I think the people who support someone the most should be the ones that are most critical of them. Should he have posted this as a president? I think 100% not. There's a lot of things that he does as a president that are unprecedented.
We saw Tim Scott be able to say this is wrong, and I'm not sure why you can't say this was wrong.
Well, first off, again, with the use of words wrong, they're two different things. When I hear the word of racist, I'm supposed to.
So he was there. I think they were discussing the video with Obama and Michelle where they did the whole monkey thing. He was there defending it and saying that Trump didn't need to speak up about it. So yeah, and mind you, people like Anton Daniels, who's had conversations with Tommy Sotomayor, who's had panels with him, they will say that black women are the biggest threat to the black community. But he's literally saying that it's okay for our president to share a video of our last black president being depicted as a monkey. So he's on there actually in defense of white people. But we, as black women, they will get on there and say that we're the biggest threat to the community. It's insane.
Just be afraid Klan member. And you have to understand, I've been black my whole life. And unlike you,
Hey,
I've been
that makes two of us.
That's what I was going to say, but unlike
Oh,
you.
so now we're going to do colorism?
I was going to say, but
now we're going to do
unlike
colorism?
you, I've been
Okay.
dark. Wait,
Okay.
but
All
unlike
right.
you, wait a minute.
Wow, not him using the colorism card because that light skinned man is checking him. That's crazy. Now he wants to say that he has. Now he wants to pray. Ew. First of all, let's look at that dirty ass tongue. Let me see if I can zoom in. This be the men online that be talking. Look at the tongue be full of. Look at the tongue is full of white stuff. Oh, the tongue is looking nasty. But he's online talking about black women. You got bigger issues, my G. You need to wash your tongue. Look at that. But he's online talking about black women. If only I could zoom in further so you guys can see the white goo hanging out of his mouth. Like, you don't even brush your tongue, but you're on there having a whole conversation trying to talk about black people and how Trump is not racist for sharing literally a depiction of Barack Obama and his wife as monkeys. Like, it's crazy to me. Probably didn't even wash his mouth or his ass before he got on that panel. Because you know Tommy, all he do is be behind a computer screen. He's sitting there. I actually thought he was a paraplegic at one point. I'm not gonna lie. Because every time I see me sitting on the same rocking chair, running his mouth, he just looked like a bitter, no leg having bandit. You know, that's just the vibe I got from him. But he's basically there to defend that. And these people try to act like black women or other groups are the ones who are enemy to the community. That's what really gets me. Let's continue.
But unlike you, I've been dark skinned my whole life.
Okay.
And you know what I've been told? You know what I've been told by black folks? That same monkey, crispy, blackie, midnight, smoke, and all these words are supposedly okay that black people use against their own people. And you're trying to.
And let me just say, because let me see what this video gave. Because my nickname, 1 month ago, yeah, he's definitely talking about when we used to call him Crispy. So, Tommy Sotomayor used to be in the chats of Anton Daniels' channels, Fight Club, what is now Room 9, all those. He used to be in the chats all the time. He used to hit the link, get on the panel, talk to Aaron or whatever on those channels. And let me tell you something. When we would get to calling him Crispy in the chat, which if you're going to get online and start talking crap about black women, talk about how you don't care about black children, how the community is cooked, how the community sucks, hell yes, I'm going to drag you. I'm going to roast you. I'm going to call you all types of things. I'm gonna call you Crispy starting with it. So we would call him Crispy, and he would get so mad, and he would say, "Black women are always crying about colorism, but they in the chat calling me Crispy." Yes, and you are, and is. You're crispy as hell. Brain crispy too. Like, you just get on here and you talk crap about the community all day, and you expect people to protect your image or care about you and not call you what you are, which is a crispy bandit.
Insult someone, you go towards things that they don't like. I don't agree with the fact that we can say, well, we can diss these people and that diss is okay, but that diss is a diss too far, because when we diss this man and we call him an orange orangutan, but that's okay for us to call him that because he's supposed to be accepted.
It's not
I
black.
think
First of all, it's not black people calling Trump an orange orangutan. We call him an orange tomato, orange head. We call him a Cheeto. We call him all types of things. We don't allude to Trump being a monkey, first of all. Second of all, there's no racial history with white people being called monkeys. So again, trying to conflate something, and you're sitting up there crispy, your tongue is dirty, your lips are ashy. Lips are literally gray in this fucking picture. You got bags under your eyes because you have to sit on panels all day to make the money that you make now to afford that little place that you're living in, that little apartment that you got, that little condo. At the end of the day, he's still there to support literally someone making an anti-black statement. That should just show you who he is, right? But there's profitability. Tommy Sotomayor has made money being how he is. He's gotten lots of support from black men and even black women in the community who there's probably a lot of black women in the community who have, and I'm not going to say a lot meaning a majority, but there's a good amount who they have a disdain towards their own community. Maybe they've had bad experiences. Maybe they just don't have a positive outlook. Maybe they don't even like themselves, so they will never love their community. But there's a good amount, and they used to support Tommy Sotomayor, and some of them still do, even when he says things like this. And that's the crazy part, is that he knows that this is how he makes money. This is how he gets attention. I mean, he got called on to be on TMZ just because of his rhetoric and his support of Donald Trump. And yeah, they're making him look stupid, but at the end of the day, if he's making money, who are any of us to say, hey, don't do that? Because he's making money off it. He's supporting himself. There's profitability in it. Even if it's just to make a point on some white men's stream, the point still being, hey, we can get some black men to get on here and talk crap about the community, but we definitely can't get them to do anything positive. Even if that's the message that they're trying to put out, they would still rather do that. And a lot of these type of people who get online and talk like this, they make it very easy for people to profit off of saying anti-black things. Yeah, they're not talking exactly. Some of the women who do say it, yeah, they want to other themselves. Oh, they're not talking about a black woman. They're talking about a certain type of black woman. I'm not that type of black woman. But what they don't understand, while they're sitting there cheering that man on, the larger society and community is looking at you, agreeing with them, and now every time they even see you, they see you like that. Right? They think of you like that. So literally, this supporting this ideology has a negative outcome for yourself. That's why I call these type of people mammies. That's why I read parts of Nyla's Mammy DSM, because literally it's detrimental. It's dangerous for women, for another woman to throw women under the bus, right? Because now you're making her an easy target for men. And sometimes you may even be facilitating that attack against her. Let's continue. So what I wanted to do really quickly was move on to the next video, because I don't think there's really much else that we need to say. And we're really going to move on to Anton Daniels. And I wanted to move on to Anton Daniels because right now, Anton is very popular, right? He's at the height of his popularity. I think even when Fight Club was around, he wasn't this popular, right? I definitely wasn't checking for him, and I definitely wasn't hearing from him. But I wanted to talk about Anton Daniels because he's reached this level of popularity, and his whole shtick is mentioning black women, is talking about black women, is denigrating black women. And so we're gonna talk about him because he's made all the buzz recently. And even when I saw the Netflix documentary about the red pill, there was not nearly enough about black men. There was not nearly enough about the Black Manosphere and Kevin Samuels and that group of men who really had a big impact on other men. In my opinion, there wasn't enough. And so that's kind of what prompted a little bit of this as well. So let me just check in with some comments here. Bear LH said, I think they do it to deflect the hate off of them. They're not talking about me. Yes, those mammies, they want to say, well, it's not me. He's talking about other type of women. They want to be othered. I'm one of the good Negroes. They want to be remembered in the white revolution. Yeah, maybe they're a black person who feels they buy into the stereotype, and so they want to be othered all the time. So they will denigrate their own people so that they can be othered and treated like they're not like one of those black people. Yeah, that happens as well, and that's a survival tactic of people who really don't like themselves. They will say and do things like that. But let's get into Anton Daniels because he spends a lot of time online talking about black women, despite saying that they're the least desired, the least desirable. Nobody wants them. They're the worst type of woman. Blah blah blah. He spends a lot of time talking about black women. Barrel H says that's some black incel shit. I definitely think he's an incel. He's married, but I definitely think that he didn't ever get his chance with as many black women as he wanted. And so now that he has this online following, he's saying things that he could never say when he wasn't desirable to black women. Or I think he's still not, but to some he is. So let's get into it.
I mean, how many plays?
And before we go, just to read the title, y'all women aren't worth it. Blackman says sorry, I can't read the title here. Blackman says it's too hard getting angry ladies to be submissive. Right? First question that I have is, why do you need a woman to be submissive to be with you?
PlayStations have you brought?
I bought a lot of them, and Xboxes, and GameCubes, and Wii's, all types.
Because you mentioned that with a passion.
Man, look, it's something that we all done went through. We all just don't speak on it.
We
all done dated women with kids, and we all done got the short end of the stick. It's just we all deal with it in different ways. Some of us speak out on it, some of us don't. They always get the bigger end
Some
of
of
the
the
stick.
stuff that you said, I feel like I'm talking out of hurt. That's just me.
I'm talking out of hurt. You see that these men ain't
That's just what
disagreeing.
I think.
Then why don't one man disagree with?
Because you're the only person talking, really,
Do
to be
any
honest.
man disagree with what I have said so far? Speak now. If you do, it's fine.
Hey, don't put me in it.
No, I'm for real.
So he said, don't put me in it. My problem with what he's trying to do is he wants another man to challenge him when he should really just be speaking for himself, right? You should be talking for yourself. You guys are on this panel to share your individual experience, not to speak for all men or all women. But a lot of times when men get into these conversations, because men are really self-centered and they really only care about themselves a lot of the time, they don't have that same capacity for empathy that I think, unless they've had an experience that made them. Most of them don't have that same capacity for empathy like women. They really don't think about it like that. They just think, oh, if I'm speaking for all men. I know that when I'm speaking, I'm not speaking for every woman because my individual beliefs are my own. Yes, there might be women who agree with me and they might see it exactly like I do, but I don't speak for all women and I will never say I do. But these men, when they try to get into these conversations, into these panel discussions, they want to speak for every man. They want to be the voice of men. Right? They don't want to just be their own individual voice. They want to be the voice of men. And that's when these conversations get slippery. Because now when boys hear these topics and these conversations, they think, oh, this is for all of us. He's seeking validation for his effed up position. Yeah, he's seeking validation for his bad choice. Because he's saying we got the short end of the stick. 9 times out of 10, if a woman were to say she got the short end of the stick, they're going to say you chose the wrong person. So let's go with that understanding. He chose the wrong one, and now he wants somebody else to be accountable for it, right? He wants women in general to be accountable for the fact that he chose a woman that it wasn't a good choice, that he didn't get anything out of it, that he was overburdening himself to be with her.
Any man.
I'm staying out the way.
Hey, I'm staying out of this one.
Who is this young Padawan that is over here
kicking knowledge, spitting game, and schooling these people that's on this panel. But that's not even the real issue that we're looking at here. You know what the biggest issue is? Let me rewind it for y'all so that y'all can see it for yourself.
Any man disagree with what I have said so far, speak now. If you do, it's fine.
Hey, don't put me in this.
No, I'm for real. I said any man.
I'm staying out the way.
That is the problem right there. That is the problem, is because people are so concerned with saying the right thing and being politically correct. And then all.
Yeah, so for him, there wasn't enough men agreeing with the fact that dating single mothers or whatever is a bad choice, and they got the short end of the stick. For him, there wasn't enough men, because he's reviewing a 2-minute clip, it looks like. There wasn't enough men saying that that was a bad choice. A lot of people, when they get online now, they're seeking confirmation bias. They want you to say what they already believe and confirm what they already know, right? They don't want you to challenge their understanding or their worldview, because a lot of times when you challenge a person's worldview, you put them in a state of emergency where they either have to choose cognitive dissonance, where two things are true and that causes conflict internally, right? Or they're specifically going to reject one side and lean to the other. And I think here, he specifically wanted those other men to jump up and say, yes, every time we date a single woman, we get the short end of the stick. Every time we get a single woman, we get a bad result. And I don't think that was true. They didn't feel that. That's why the men there said, leave me out of it. You want to be on this anti-woman stuff, that's your business. And I think that's what he had a problem with. What Anton had a problem with, because he wants men, when they're talking about women, to gang up together against women. They want all of them to jump together and say, women, you're wrong. Women, you want us to date you when you already have kids and you're not worth dating. We shouldn't be with you. That's what they want men to get together and say. But that's not how those men who were there in front of those women felt. Because every man doesn't feel like this. And we talk about silent majorities or silent minorities or whatever, or loud minorities all the time. And this is a case of that, right? Where we do have these men, maybe you call them the minority, but online it's about numbers. And if there's 2 million men online who are agreeing with a negative worldview, it's going to create an environment where a negative worldview is being propped up. And I think that's what Anton Daniels and the people in that type of environment before him, Kevin Samuels, Angryman, O'Shea Duke Jackson, all those people, like they all kind of had that worldview. That was their worldview, and they kind of just passed it on to these guys. But these guys now, they want all men everywhere to agree with them. That used to be a very niche environment that felt that way. That wasn't the typical thing that men said that they felt. It was actually a lot of men who said red pill is not real, that's not us. But now today, there's a lot of men now who say like they agree with most of what they read and see on the red pill. But let's continue.
Ultimately, basically, most of us got boxelitis, meaning that they'll do anything for box, not realizing that the box come with it. And it really don't matter. The more masculine you are, the more you're going to get box anyway. But the real problem is the simp force, is that guys are so afraid to actually tell the truth. And they left that guy on an island by himself. And I'm always going to link back to the content creator, so the link will be in the description. But they left this guy on the island by himself, even though he's spitting facts 100 times out of 100 times. I tell guys on a regular basis, and you know my shtick, I would never tell anybody to do something that I wouldn't do myself. And so I'm never going to advocate for a guy to get involved with a single mother when it's not conducive or beneficial for him. And so he said that a lot of guys have dealt with single mothers and they have all gotten the short end of the stick. And, he was basically breaking down.
See, I don't even have a problem with the idea that no one wants to raise somebody else's kids, because somebody just said that in the chat. I don't think any woman or man wants to raise somebody else's kids, right? I think having to raise somebody else's kids is a challenge. I think people who do it well and with love are blessed people. But I don't think anybody wants to raise a child that they didn't contribute to creating. It's not anything evil or nefarious. I just think there's a lack of connection that most people feel. right? There's that lack of like, oh, I have a desire to like, I care about that kid. I want to put that kid above me. Most people who they didn't birth the kid, they're not going to want to do that. And that's why I say nobody wants to raise anybody else's kids. And that's how most people feel. I think most people feel like you should get with somebody who has kids. But I think the hypocrisy is that a lot of people don't want men, or a lot of men will speak out about becoming stepfathers, or don't be a step dummy, but they'll be perfectly okay with expecting women to deal with men who already have kids. For example, if they have money, if they have influence, or if they come from a certain echelon, they'll expect women to completely take that over, even though a woman's role a lot of the times, especially if the man's paying everything, would be to raise and take care of the family. So her role would literally be to be taking care of that kids, and they don't see a problem with a woman taking that on, but they're fighting against men taking that on. And the only person that hurts in the end is the kids. I definitely don't think people should just get with anybody just to have a man around their kids. Definitely not. But I think people dating each other, people dating people, other people who have kids, is the smartest thing, because you both have a vested interest in keeping your children safe for the most part, right? Unless somebody's weird or a stretch or something weird. Yeah, I think nobody's a stretch in terms of like, there's some people out there who are willing to raise somebody else's kid. So yeah. Someone said the glass, it kind of looks like it though, I'm not gonna lie. It do look like the nose is a part of the glasses, now that you mentioned that. All right, let's continue.
Down at the fact that you can't tell me what I can and can't do, especially when it comes to having fun. And let me say this other part while I got it on my mind. Because I'm not, I used to be in my youth a gamer, right? Meaning that I had extra time, so I would jump on the Xbox Live, or whatever, so on and so forth. Why don't women want guys that game? And I understand that y'all want guys that's productive, but what makes you think that him being in the house is better than him being in the streets? And if he's out here gaming, that means that you know where he is, versus him spending his extra time actually out here in the streets and you don't know what's going on. I don't understand that, right? Because even though I'm not a gamer, I understood that, that for me, when I was younger and I started to play games, that was a way for me to stay in the house and not spend no money on anything that I didn't feel like was adding value into my life. And so instead of going outside and it costing me money, I would stay in the crib and then play games or whatever, which I then changed that because obviously my time is more valuable, so I don't have time to play games now. But my point is when you're talking about regular everyday people and a guy coming home and playing games, what makes y'all think that just because when he's not and he's in the streets that he's being more productive, or if he's not on the game that he's going to be sitting up laid up under you? That's not a realistic scenario, and women really need to get that out of their heads.
And let me tell you something. As a 30-year-old black woman, fuck it. As a 30-year-old woman, I do not want no man laying up under me 24. No, I do not. No. I want you laying up under me when Netflix is on, at the end of the night, early in the morning. That's about it. If you're a healthy, well-adjusted woman, you have hobbies, and habits of your own. You do not want a man laying up under you. So again, this is a 40-plus-year-old man talking about relationships in a very remedial way. He's talking like a teenager. Most of us don't have time to be laid up under anybody, especially if you're working on your summer body. Who has time to be laid up under a man? But he takes these remedial, childish talking points and he applies it to groups of people. He's somebody who's been married since he was like 20. He really has no experience with single women or women in the dating market for over 10, 15 years. What does he have of value to say or add? But always trying to talk about single people and what they're doing.
Like, if he's at the crib chilling, you probably need to figure out either how to give him some peace and some space for him to enjoy himself, or you need to take an interest in what he's doing because you don't want the alternative. I'm just going to tell you straight up. You really don't want the alternative. And these even guys that's not doing nothing crazy, because I'm not saying that just because you got the alternative that the guy's doing something crazy. But what I am saying is that you not prepared for the fact that he ain't really checking for you. And if he focused even more on his purpose, then that's going to take away even more time that he would have normally allocated for you if he was just playing for the game and then he got off and then he wanted to just kick it in slow motion. A lot of guys just do this as a way to take a load off. Whereas they used to watch the game, now most times they play the game or whatever. But you know where he at? He at the crib, and so he ain't out here in these streets, and that should be enough for you. But you don't see that. But let's get back to the clip because I want to get to the rest of this, and I want to see the rest of this before I comment. These guys is always leaving dudes out on the island so that they can step out.
I'm staying out of this.
I'm staying out the way on that.
You know,
So yeah, some of it
if,
is
if,
legit.
if I'm honest,
I'm ready for this.
I'm with him, but I'm not with him. Let me tell you why I'm with him. Some of the things that he's saying makes sense, but I think that when you get with the right woman, you guys communicate, then everything can go the way he's saying.
Love it.
So like I think he's referring to a submissive woman. And I think that you have to communicate with the woman on a certain level to find out if she is submissive, and then he'll get it.
Yes, because women, okay, here's what I'll say, right? No woman just wakes up and is submissive. We don't just wake up and say, let me submit to all the men around me with a penis. Because if we did that, first of all, we would be in complete danger, right? We know males are predatory. Sorry to say, that most men out here are doing the right thing. Okay, most men aren't trying to rape or kill women. We get it, right? But there's a good chunk of men out here who will take advantage of any situation involving a woman. Any. So sometimes I hear these things online and I'm like, these men really just want women to be out here dumb and ditzy. That's what they want. They want them to be easy targets and prey. That's what they want them to be accessible to violence and manipulation, whatever other tactics that males and other people use to take advantage of people. Because otherwise, I don't get why they would even offer up some of this advice to people. Tell me why I literally almost peed myself when I read this and you said why Anton head looked like Tommy Sotomayor. It literally does though. Like his head literally looks like Tommy Sotomayor. Like that almost sent me to hell. So that's why I have it highlighted there. But his whole shtick is not liking women. That's his whole thing. His whole thing is these men should have jumped up and said, no, we don't disagree with you when he said that. And he really made an extreme point. And this man right here's statement explained how it was extreme because he said, because once you meet a woman who's on the right page with you, it's different. He still believes and knows that there's a woman on there that he can get on the right page and program to be the submissive, quote unquote, and I'm going to quote unquote, put a big quote unquote, just to be sure, submissive woman, right? Because most days men aren't looking for a docile woman who's just gonna let anybody tell her when and where to do and how to do. They want a woman who knows how to speak for herself, who has some level of dignity, intellect, intelligence. I don't want a man who wants a ditzy dumb woman because what does that say about him? A man who's really smart and has something worth protecting, he's not going to want a noble woman that's stupid, who doesn't have any class, who's easily manipulable, because there's nothing beneficial to that. He would want a woman who's smart, who has her own, dialogue, her own life, her own experiences as well as the marriage or the relationship. But some of these talking points, it's not made for you to be an equal partner with them. They literally want a woman to dominate over, right? They're so, full of the self-hatred and the lack of self-love for themselves that they need that woman there to dominate, to make them feel alive, to make them feel like a man. And it's very disturbing. Let's continue. There's a few minutes left in this video from Anton.
Everything he's talking about. But
You're never going to find out whether a woman is submissive by communication. That's not how the game go.
not dealing with submissive women. He just dealing with.
Wait, so you can't find out if she's submissive from communication. So how are you going to find out if she's submissive? So if you don't communicate, how are you going to find out anything? You're literally just going to make shit up in your head based off of what you think you observe. This is a dangerous type of male to have advising young men, because what he says sounds insane. All right, let's continue. And I wish he would put his glasses on. He looks ridiculous.
I don't know because I wasn't.
I'm dealing with women that's manipulative. Like women
he dealing with the wrong
nowadays, they
kinds.
only want to be submissive when it fits them. They'll be submissive when we're
Cook.
going on trips and when I'm paying the rent.
Cook.
Whenever they car break down, I'm getting it fixed. And whenever everything else is going good. When I tell you don't go to the club, it's a problem. You submissive whenever you want to be. But whenever I tell you to do something you don't want to do, now you're no longer submissive. That's not going for me. It's not going for me.
I can't lie to you. He got some truth in there.
That's true. That's true.
I'm gonna keep it a buck
He ain't saying
because
shit wrong with that.
Oh, now they want to start to bandwagon him. No, you tried to leave him out on an island. Let the young Patty Wan cook. He already in the kitchen. He got the steak grilling. He got the oil running. He already doing his thing. He don't need no co-signers no more.
But what I'm noticing.
And you know what annoys me is that you could just tell these are veneers. Like the way he's moving, hit the bottom of his, they actually look like they're about to fall out right here. Like you could just tell that you just know they're not his teeth because it's just unnatural the way his mouth is moving.
Running, he already doing his thing. He don't need no co-signers no more.
But what I'm noticing that more so in the generation that came before me, the 30 and down. The ones that's around my age and up, they're a little better. But you know, them young ones, they've been having the little issues, you know. They do all of it, and then no offense, baby, but it's too much of the snapbacks of the hands and all that extra. But like you said, when you're doing for them, everything good. But
too much talking back.
I might be with you on this a little bit.
They're not letting us lead.
Yeah,
we need to be able to lead. But how can I lead a woman who every time I say something, she got something to say back? So you get in a relationship with a man who you feel like gonna do better by you and get you in a better place in life.
I'm just gonna say, like, the fact that it looks like he chain smokes black and milds, yeah. Why is this point in Just Made never a consideration in this dialogue? I don't know. I'm not sure what you're saying. But I'm going to tell you something. Any woman that you talk to, if she don't like or agree with what you're saying, she's going to tell you. So if you think that you're going to deal with another adult and they're never going to challenge anything that you say, or they're always, or let's even say this, there's no percentage. If you say some shit that sounds like bullshit, you're going to hear it from a woman. But if it's somebody who just wants to play with you and she don't really care what you're saying, or maybe even she's a woman, she's with you, but she knows that you're too weak to hear what she has to say, she might not tell you. And you'll make that fatal mistake. You'll make that mistake that takes you to the ground or below or ruins you. Either way, we both said something, or we both made a choice. One of us chose not to say nothing to maintain that submissive image, and one of us said, no, we're not going to let this go without saying something to you because it's so detrimental. In the end, most of the time, the men finds out that that woman that they considered to be domineering, masculine, loud, they were right. They just didn't like the approach. And you're not going to demonize a woman for her approach. Either you like having a woman who's going to give you that real second eye, or you don't. Either you want a partner or you want someone to dominate. A lot of the time, that's why the age gap conversation always happens, because men know there needs to be a significant age gap for a woman to let them run it over in the first place. You don't have to be submissive to not be domineering. It's not a zero-sum equation. I never said any of that. Again, you mentioned that already, but you literally have just repeated what you said on your own, rephrased. I never said that to be to not be domineering, you have to be submissive. I never said that. I just said that if you're not submissive, which would be a particular characteristic, they will start to consider you domineering. And really, you're not being domineering. You're just speaking up for yourself. You're just trying to have a voice. You're just trying to be part of an equation or even part of a conversation. And they don't want you to even do that. They don't even feel like you should have a voice. Just like in the last couple of videos we saw about from Tommy Sotomayor, he doesn't even believe black women should have a voice. Let's continue.
But you don't want to listen to him. Why are you with him then?
I can't listen to a man or be led by a man that's gonna lead me into darkness. If
That's
I
right.
see off rip that you finna lead me into some BS,
But why would you be with him in the first place? Is what he's saying. I don't even think that these women are paying.
So why would you be with him in the first place? Let's start here. Because you don't know everything the moment you meet a man, right? Sometimes men will try to pretend in the beginning, they'll say all the right things, but as you continue and you try to get some depth, you start to realize who they are, right? And that's when things really do begin to fall apart. I think that's what he's not realizing here. And I think that he's very quickly to say, like, you should have known better. Why didn't you know? Why couldn't you tell? How are you vetting him? And it's like, these men will say the right thing until they don't. So what are you expecting her to vet if he is saying the right things at first? If he is using the right words, because he knows that if he says anything in the beginning before they get online or before they get any notoriety, that he will be gone. And so he's playing a part as well. All right, let's continue with this part of Anton's video. There's only a few minutes left.
Paying attention to what he's cooking up. Cook, young man, cook.
I'm not. Then now let me take the reins. I'm gonna have to take the reins to be masculine. Don't no woman wants to be masculine.
Well, pick better men today.
Listen, no woman wants to be masculine. We all desire to be in our feminine.
No, he's 100% right. And again, this is the need to respond, and so they're looking to respond instead of looking to understand. Then he said, well, then get with a certain type of dude that you want to be with. But don't ever pick a man and then start to question his masculinity, talking about, I need to lead. That is the fastest way to get your ass on a plane and shit back to wherever it is that you came from.
And I'll say this, I think the problem a lot of the times is that women are getting with men and the man is expecting her to acquiesce to his every will. And I think that's not realistic. I think when you get with somebody, whether you guys talked about it or not, you should expect that both of you are going to have input and you're going to have respect for each other's input. I think that's enough. I think going any further than that, you're going to need to have more of a conversation. That's really crazy. That's really crazy that you would come in here and say that, Daniel, because you could have said anything tonight. You could have literally said anything, and you chose to say the dumbest thing that you could, the least accurate. It just makes you sound dumb. But thank you for joining the stream. Well, no, nobody made any absolute points there, and I think the fact that you keep trying to force that's what I did is kind of saying something about what your intentions were when you came in to have the conversation. So, yeah. All right, so Anton doesn't have anything worthwhile left to say in this video. I think he was trying to make a point that the women were too domineering, and I think even the men didn't really want to agree with that. And the ones who did, they kind of had to talk themselves into it. That man who talked about it, he had to really talk himself into agreeing with it because he felt like the language was extreme, So, all right, we're going to move on to Yes Fugazi podcast. The reason why I chose to talk about Yes Fugazi is because he had a little scandal earlier in the year, or excuse me, about like a year ago, maybe at this point, where we found out that he does all this content about black women, and he's actually married to a white single mother who has two or three prior children from the other baby daddy. So we've, a lot of people online found it, and I'm saying we, but I meant like a lot of people online found it hypocritical because it's like, okay, you're dating a woman who already has multiple children from another man, but then you get on your podcast and you tell men that they're simps and XYZ if they get with women who are single mothers. So I felt that he was a good one to include in this conversation because, again, he's getting profit, money, notoriety off of making videos about black women, right? He's another one. Black girls angry because black men choose white chicks. How delusional, again, do you have to be to actually think that's a thing? I implore every black man who thinks that black women care, go to your local neighborhood or go to your local city. I'll say this. So if you don't live anywhere that there's a major city, if your closest major city is your capital in your state, go there. Okay? Go there and just pay attention to the interracial couples. See if anyone has a problem. 9 times out of 10, nobody has a problem with that. So the fact that these podcasts are being created of men who are profiting and they're benefiting and their channels are growing based off of implying that black girls really care about men who swirl and date out is crazy. Because again, when black women date white men, they don't have podcasts and channels about it. They don't make channels. Like, they might have a swirling channel, but there's swirling channels of every swirl category, like of every type of swirler, like Indian, black, Asian, white, like every type of swirler, they have accounts online. But black women who date other groups, they don't have channels like black men are not man enough. They don't measure up to Asian men. They don't measure up to white men. Like, they don't have there was literally, besides the pink pill and like one other channel, one other divestor channel, or 2 or 3 other divestor channels, it wasn't, majority of the channels were not anti black men or dating out channels. Like, that just is not, it's flooded with the opposite. So the fact that there's so many channels of black men online that they actually go with this, that's their whole business model. All right, we're going to talk about black women and how we reject them and they want us, but we're choosing white women. And I mentioned that he was a tiny hand bandit because look at first of all, his hand is the pastiest thing on his body, and they're so fucking small, like disgustingly small. So that was just something I wanted you guys to pay attention to. But let's get into it. It's kind of weird that you took it to mean you and the conversation. No, I didn't take it there, but you're implying that I am because that's how you're looking at it. And then you're projecting and you keep trying to have the conversation even though I'm ignoring you because I don't want to make it a thing. So it's kind of weird that you're taking it there and that you're making that the conversation. I'm not even paying attention to you, but you're trying to make that the whole. You wrote several paragraphs. So again, we're gonna move on to Yes Fugazi podcast because he's very fugazi in everything he said, everything he says. But yeah, he's one of the many channels online who talks about black women like he puts their name in titles. Black girls, black, and to say black girls means that you're not even talking about grown black women. You're talking about little children, essentially. That's what black girl is.
The backlash the football player got for proposing to his white girlfriend, why do black women get angry and bitter when black men that they don't want to date outside their race? Okay, so why do black women get angry and bitter when black men that they don't want date outside their race? Good question. So, ladies, did y'all see about that college football player? He proposed to his white girlfriend. Y'all seen that, right?
Yeah.
It was on.
They had 2 kids. She was wearing the glasses. She looked like a little nerd.
No. She wasn't no nerd. She wasn't no glasses. She was like.
Oh, no, it was the other one. Okay, yeah, that's what I saw. That. Yeah.
Okay, ladies. So let's go ahead and get y'all perspective on that. Let's start with you. So the question is, why do black women get angry or bitter when they see a black man date outside their race? And were you mad about seeing that?
Personally, anything on the internet don't have nothing to do with
Okay,
me.
fair
Like,
enough.
it's not my life, you know. But I just feel as though black women probably get mad because it be on some like, don't come crying to us when you know what type of situation you're in, just to be put back in that situation, or it's just like things that you see in life. Like, I personally don't have no opinion on that because everybody do what's best for them.
I like what she said about don't come crying to us, because I do think there was a lot of cases of black men who were deleted by the police, or like something happened to them controversial, and then there were campaigns online to advocate for them, and their whole history would come up. One of them was that one guy who was shot in the backyard. He had a whole history about black women and saying that he didn't like black women and that he was choosing Chinese women because his baby mama, I believe, was Chinese or Asian or something like that. But he had a lot of anti-black women, anti-black people content online, and so people were like, "Why is his family and everything coming for us to advocate for him?" But he spent his time and his legacy denigrating black people and black women, and I think that's a very fair assessment that she's having right there. Right? I do think the onus is put on black women a lot of the time to carry the imagery or even like the advocacy of black people. Like, oh, everything that black women care about has to benefit the entire community, not just them. It has to benefit the entire community, even the ones who are making the community dangerous and hurting others. That's the problem that we have. And I think what she's saying here is, hey, you're a divester, you're a swirler, you're a black man who goes online and you're profiling, you're talking crap about black people and black women. Don't expect us to advocate for you. Don't expect us to fight for you. This also goes to Toby Abumseli, right? He was uh, he was poked several times by his girlfriend in the bathtub. He was left for dead, and she was an OnlyFans model, and it was a brutal deletion. Like, she really did him dirty, and people wanted to advocate for him. But then again, they went to his Twitter and his pages, and they found anti-black content, and nobody can deny it. It was him who said those things, and so you have black women who are spearheading this movement, this Black Lives Matter movement, and they have to worry about the fact that the people that they're advocating for were anti-black women, anti-black community, or whatever you want to call it. A lot of them were mostly anti-black women. Toby Abumseli would call black women monkeys and say that he hates, like, he doesn't want to be around black women, he doesn't want them. It was just such a weird, bizarre reality, And I think it was like this emotional pull, this emotional tug of war, where black women were like, we're using all our energy and resources to advocate for the community, but we have this subset of people in the community who are anti-black women and anti-black community, like Anton Daniels, like other people. It's like some people never even had a problem with Kevin Samuels. They didn't think he was anti-black women because they thought he was just being himself and he was just being tough. And I think, yeah, you could kind of say that he was just being tough, but I think, domestic discipline, or even trying to say that, like, other groups were better than black women, that's where he crossed the line. Like, yeah, a lot of the times he was just kind of being tough, quote unquote, but he did also cross lines as well. And the people today in the Tommy Sotomayors and things like that, they definitely crossed the line. And so I do think that what she's saying, that's where that's coming from this understanding where some people want you to advocate for the community, but they also hate you as an individual part of the community, not necessarily as the whole representation of the community. So, all right, let's continue.
Honestly, but they probably get mad because the black men probably come crying about what the white woman doing to them and all that. But it's like, you knew that,
So why do you think the black women are upset then?
What else was she saying? You saying that the black women are upset because the black men are coming back to them crying?
Yeah, so it'd be like they're complaining about the white woman and what they're doing and all that, but then it's just like you'll still choose to deal with them, or they'll know what's up with the white woman and just still.
That's an assumption, though. Do you really think that the black men that are choosing white women are going back to black women?
I personally don't know.
So to reiterate, so there are some black women, not all obviously, that they get upset when they see a black guy dating a white girl.
And I don't know if you guys can see here, if you guys ever saw like a self-hating trickster right
There are
here.
some black women, not all obviously, that they get upset.
You can see intention a lot of the times. And I'm one of those people, I like to pay attention to people's body language to kind of be able to get a vibe. He wanted a reaction here. If you really pay attention to his body language, his facial expression, he has like almost like a smirk here where he's like, oh, I'm saying something that I know I'm going to try and get a reaction out of. But these women here were graceful enough where they were kind of like, no, like I don't pay attention to this internet stuff. But I'm also not going to go along with you if you're saying certain things about me as a black woman or whatever. Because that's really what she was saying here. All right, let's continue.
So when they see a black guy dating a white girl,
well, so I'm about to say,
or marrying a white girl. So in your opinion, I don't know if there's a right answer, but in your opinion, why do you think that they get upset when they see a black man dating a white woman or marrying a white woman? In your opinion,
because they probably think. I feel like I personally look at it like they probably think black men think black women want them for their money or like want them for what they have or whatever sometimes. Or
even when they don't have more than 2 pennies to rub together, this is true. She's right. I really do think some of them be thinking like, oh, she's a gold digger. And I really be wondering like, digging what? Digging what? She's a gold digger. What is she digging? What is she getting from you? What do you have of value? They can never tell you anything, but a gold digger, yeah, that is definitely a belief that a lot of them have. Oh, she just wants his money. She's materialistic. Even though that girl will be with them when they don't have more than 2 pennies to rub together.
they just mad because it's not them. Like sometimes it be like that. It's just not them, and they're just mad. Like sometimes it just be like that. Like
moving right along. Why do you think that black women are angry and bitter when they see a black man, a successful black man, dating outside the race to a white woman?
I think because a lot of times, like when black men go to white women, they do it because they feel a negative way towards black women. Like they had bad experiences. So they know that they're going to run their mouth.
And let me just say, shout out to these 2 beautiful black women. And I would say they were beautiful whether they said something I agreed with or not. But they both held their own. The first girl was like, sometimes it is jealousy. And I do believe sometimes when black women be like, oh, every time black men get with white women, it's because they're jealous. They want that black man. It's true. Sometimes it's that. Sometimes it's like, okay, every time they get with white women, they have something to say about black women now. Or they're stereotyping black women now. And they just see every other group that's not black women as unique because they hate what they look like, you know? And I think that's what the first girl was trying to say. And then he kept pushing her because he wanted her to be more specific to where he could frame it. This girl is literally saying that she believes it's because some of them who do date out, they date out because they had a negative experience with black women. They're not dating out because they genuinely fell for that other woman. They're just going to look at other groups because they want to spite black women, or they want to say like, I had such a bad experience with a black woman, I'm going to try something different. And that's like the difference in what they were saying. But both of them spoke pretty eloquently about their own beliefs about why black women were dating out.
And talk down on black women, which most of the time black men do. They talk down on black women.
So black women don't talk down on black men?
I feel like black men and women talk down on each other, which really is still not okay. But yeah,
to go on social media, this maybe not right now, but this you can find plenty of statuses, whether on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, of women just dogging men. You know what I mean? Especially black men. You know what I'm saying? So why should a man date a certain race of woman when they're constantly dogging black men?
I don't think that we're constantly dogging black men. I think it's just the society that we're in now. Everybody's just dogging each other, you know? And I just think it's all messed up. I don't think I think.
And I love how like these two Dusties, you know, I think in this video they definitely thought they were gonna get a different type of black woman here. Now, I don't know how it's gonna escalate because I didn't watch the whole thing. I didn't watch the very beginning, but both of them are staying fairly neutral. Like, first of all, she's saying like, I don't think that it's about black women bashing black men because black women definitely don't bash black men. We just saw a video where Tommy was literally saying that black women don't even deserve to have a voice, and she was agreeing and laughing along with that. We don't rarely see what these men are saying, right? But I do think that they want to put out this ideology, and I think that's why both of them are kind of falling flat because they expected that like outrage and that like feisty fight back and like, no, that's not black women. That's why they're deflated, and they have to probe because those women aren't going to agree with that. And she's right. She's saying like that it's more of like both of us are women and men are dogging each other out. Men are saying women are skanks and not loyal and XYZ and they're gold diggers. And women are saying men are dangerous, rapists, killers, murderers. You can't trust them and they're going to cheat and they're not worthy, blah, blah, blah. So it's both on both sides having extreme views, but they want her to qualify or like agree with what they're saying. So I'm not gonna say qualify or quantify. I don't think they were expecting any of that out of her, but I think they wanted her to say, yes, women are definitely playing extreme and saying that men are dangerous or whatever. I think both people are bashing each other and saying that like we're not good partners as a gender. Both people are doing that.
I think that the black community, yes, we do have a lot of things to work on, but I think we're bashing each other. I don't think it's just one more than the other.
Got you.
Yeah.
So your answer was the reason why black women, you know, are angry and bitter at black men dating outside the race is because the black men feel negative towards. They think that the black men feel negative towards them.
Yeah, they paint a negative picture of black women when they do move on to these white women.
Okay, so
and then
question for you
they
real
make these white
quickly on
women
that.
feel comfortable, you know, saying certain things, which she did say. She was talking negative about, you know, black women.
The white girl?
I don't know if that was her specifically, but I seen something like that on Twitter today, like when it was a white woman and a black man. And, actually a white woman commented on it, and she had said, yeah, this is
she
why.
Was in the comments.
Yeah, she said this is why black men don't want black women.
And what was the reason? Because why?
She was like, because y'all are angry and bitter and just, you know, that whole picture that black men paint of black women.
Okay, my question.
And that's what black men a lot of times will say online. They'll get online and say, you know, we're dating out. We like other groups because black women are bitter and they're this and they're that. Not saying that's every black man, right? Because that's everyone wants us to make qualifiers and qualify. Oh, it's not everybody, but that's the narrative, right? Is that black women are just jealous or whatever this stupid talking point is. And that's just not like a lot of the time it's not the case. The fact that people get upset is because when black men do date out, they'll have these sweeping judgments. Oh, black women are loud, aggressive, masculine. They don't know how to be submissive. That's why they can't find a man. Okay. But if we say that men are dumb and easily manipulable, now we're being anti-male and third wave feminists.
For you is, so you said a few things there. I'm trying to understand your worldview. Mm-hmm. So black men pretty much paint a negative image.
And I think it's interesting that they keep trying to say, I'm trying to understand your worldview. She's not speaking French or unclear. She's very clear, but he wants to rephrase it in his understanding so that he can misunderstand it and also blame her for what she's observing from him.
Towards black women when they choose a white girl, right? So But how? How do they make black women look like negative or seem negative if they choose a white girl? Like how does that happen? It's a choice. It's a preference. So it's like, you go to an ice cream shop, you got
And he's gonna gaslight with the ice cream reference because she's saying that they denigrate black women. So it's not like they just go to the ice cream and ask for chocolate. They say, you know what? I need vanilla because chocolate is too sweet and savory, and it's gonna raise my blood pressure, and it's gonna make sure that I die early if I eat chocolate ice cream. So that's why I need vanilla. It doesn't. That's literally, if you want to use ice cream reference, that's what you have to do. Black women will literally say the reason why we date white women is because black women are too masculine, they're too aggressive, they're too domineering, they don't let us lead. That's what they say when they date white women. It's like, why don't you just date white women, snow bunnies in peace? Do that. Fucking date as many snow bunnies as you fucking want. But stop talking about us when you do it. The problem is the men who do it, they want to mention black women. It's literally throwing something in their face when they mention it. It's like, why can't you just date out and date out? Black women, when they date out, they date out. We didn't even know Chili was a swirler until you guys found out that she voted for Donald Trump. Like, we didn't know. Nobody knew like that. It was on a few articles, but nobody really paid attention to the fact that Chili was a swirler until they found out that she voted for Donald Trump. Meaning her man was leading her in her politics, so she was being submissive. So what's the problem with Chili's politics based off of these bandits talking points? It's so double-sided where it's like men can say and do what they want and denigrate black women, but if black women even show even a mild preference for something outside the community, now they're self-hating, now they are anti-black people, now they're the biggest threat to the community. Like, it's almost childish and manic. All right, so Mr. Stretch says, "Hell no, I love my black woman mocha, chocolate, dark chocolate, and only the black." That's really good for you. But I'm saying, I think the very eloquent point that she made was that when certain people date out, they date out loudly, and they date out while they're denigrating people who look just like them, and it's unnecessary. All right, let's continue.
chocolate and vanilla. Nigga, I want vanilla.
You always
Should chocolate feel negative because I chose vanilla? So, explain to me the psychology behind it.
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to understand.
Yeah, so most black men start dating black women, right? Most of the time, people start dating their own race, let's be real. And then you venture out.
Most people are going to date people in their proximity. So if you are like most other people, the people in your proximity are going to be in your racial group. So yeah, most black men are going to start dating black women. Most white men are going to start dating white men. Most Asian men are going to start dating Asian women. It's just the reality. We tend to group ourselves environment wise on our racial groups and where we come from. It's just how things are. It's not like segregation. It's just how things work out.
To different races. So,
from a general perspective, I can say yes. Yeah, not all. And maybe not even most, because it all depends on the demographic of where the black person is being raised.
And the demographic.
So, in the South, it's a lot more black people in the South than any other, than any other states. So in the South, we can see more, the same race, black couples, the same race dating. But if you start to travel more up north, well, there's more white girls, there's more diversity. So the black guy's gonna date Spanish girls, white girls. The white girl's gonna date, black
generally,
boys.
I think people start dating.
So here's what I'll say. So he's completely wrong. It's not about the South or anything like that. It's about concentration of race. So if you live in a place that is heavily segregated, meaning the black people live next to the black people and the white people live next to the white people, that's where you're going to see a higher degree of people swirling. But if you go to a place, for example, like St. Louis, Missouri, New Orleans, Louisiana or whatever else. Oh, what the? Sorry, I don't know what even that was. Sorry, but if you go to a place where it's heavily concentrated with the people of a certain demographic, that's just how it's gonna be. It's gonna kind of follow that way. Whether it's a white area, that's the people that are gonna be together. If it's a black area, that's the people that are gonna be together. It's concentrated based off of what the environment is, and then you have the outliers where the people who do date out, it's mostly, for example, it might be more black men with white women, or it might be white men with Asian women. It all depends on the demographic of the area. So it's not like specific to any one racial group.
In their race, because that's just what they're
Yeah,
used to.
let's get to your point, though. I didn't want to cut you off.
That.
Yeah, go ahead.
I almost forgot what I was talking about now.
Okay, so we were on, you were just explaining to me how a black man choosing a white girl makes the black woman look negative or bad. It paints a negative connotation towards the black woman.
Well, she didn't say that. Again, he keeps trying to reframe what she said. What she said is that when black men date out and they're online, they're speaking negatively of their own group. So they might say, oh, I date white women because black women, they too loud, mean, and aggressive, and they always got a baby daddy. Even though they have kids just like every other group. And actually, they're the group with the most kids at the younger age than any other group. So it's like, okay, so you're stereotyping black women for XYZ, but that's literally the stereotype used against you. And so I think that's more of what was going on here than the opposite. Let's continue.
That choice.
I would just say that, yeah, I feel like they do. And I feel like most of the time we date in our own race because that's what we're comfortable with, right? But then eventually you venture out and you try something new. And when you try something new, it's probably a reason behind that, right? Like, okay, let me try something new. Either just because I'm curious or because I had a negative experience. So it's either one or the two. And I feel like most of the time it's just because they had a negative experience.
Okay.
Yeah.
Vad, what do you think? Why do you think black women get upset when they see a black man date and or marry a white woman? In your opinion?
In my opinion?
In your opinion.
I feel like it's because maybe the black man has become more successful and has gotten more money, and they feel as though they can upgrade to a woman that is higher than a black woman. That makes them feel as though they are a king. Maybe that a black woman maybe doesn't make them feel as that they're a king.
Okay.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
I get what you're saying. Question for you. You said the black men feel as though choosing the white woman is an upgrade. Why do you think that? Why would you think that?
I feel like that it makes them feel as that there is an upgrade.
So you feel that the black man feels that the white woman is an upgrade. So you trying to feel for the black man.
I'm not feeling for them. I'm just saying what I feel as though they feel.
Okay, real quick. But she said the same thing.
Listen to me. So if I explain this to you, I feel as though like black people should, if they initially date their own race, like my sister was saying, they date someone that is the race of their own. So I feel as though when they start making more money, that they feel as though that race that they decide to date outside of being black, like maybe it's Hispanic or maybe it's white, they feel as though that woman is more easier to obtain to than a black woman. Because a black woman, they speak their mind, they tell you what they want. You know, we all have our wants and we have our needs, and we express that to you. And we tell you what we're going to accept and what we're not going to accept from you. It's just that.
Yeah, and you know, she's not lying because black men have made it so obvious that they want a woman to come and acquiesce to them. So basically, they want a woman to come and drop her standards and follow his quote unquote program and let him lead and be the leader. That's they everyone sees it, right? Because they say it, they're so vocal about it. And so I do think sometimes that when other groups come and they date black men, they know that to date black men, all they have to do is say, I'm submissive, I'm going to submit to your program, I'm going to do what you want me to do, I'm going to XYZ. They know that that's how they have to get, that's how they have to behave or speak to get black men or to make black men feel like they're the best option. And so it is a game. Everything is a game. Dating is a game. And so, yeah, other groups are comfortable saying, like, hey, when we tell these black men, oh, we're going to be submissive, blah, 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 they actually believe it and they think that's who we are. And then later they find out that's not true. And yeah, it's true. No woman here who's raised with a brain to think for herself, like literally those of us who were put in school by our parents and told, learn everything you can, like, that education wasn't a bad thing, it was a good thing. Yeah, we don't believe that whole so just submitting. Our belief is to be a helpmate, a partner to a man, yes. But it's not to just be brain dead and stupid and the guy does everything. I think that's like a misconception that people believe and they try to bring that into relationships, and that's why they're not able to have successful relationships. But let's continue with this little clip.
That's just what us black queens have in us, period. And a white woman, they don't.
Why the white woman not a queen?
A white woman, let me tell you. Let me
black
tell
queen?
you.
Go ahead now, I'm messing with you. Go ahead.
Yeah. So let me tell you, like a black woman, a white woman is going to sit there and just let you provide for them and let you do what every white man would do for a white woman, which is provide, which is take care of them, which is do everything you feel as though you need to do for a woman. You're going to do that for that white woman.
What's wrong with that? What's wrong with white women?
You're going to do that for that white woman. You're going to do that for the Hispanic woman.
What?
Because you know why? Because they're not a black woman. Oh. Because they're not going to tell you what you should do, what you should not do. And they're not going to put their foot down. And they're not going to tell you, hey, I want you to do this and I want you to do that. And they're not going to speak on that shit. Because you know why? Because they're white. And because they know that they have a strong black man there to provide. And as a black woman, you see that in a black man. You know what a black man can provide, and you know what a black man can do, and you know what a black man can do for a black queen. So that's what I'm saying. Like I'm saying, like a black woman knows what a black man can do. So we just try to.
And it's funny because they're laughing because they know that's not true, right? Our community doesn't sit here and say, yeah, if you're a black man, make sure you provide and protect for a black queen. No, we basically support women in whatever they want to do, whether that's actually part of the community and raising a black family or being a straight up swirler. So literally having kids with any other group, white, black, or indifferent, and wanting them to be and claim black because the other groups don't accept them. We always support that. And so here, everyone starts laughing because they're like, no, black women can pretty much do whatever they want. But black women can't. Black women, you have to be all about the community. You have to support black men. And that's kind of the funny part because it's like, okay, yeah, we're expecting undying loyalty from you as a woman and from black women in general, right? Most black women, even black women that they would say are higher quality and they should be able to get whoever they want, they still even expect that from them. So yeah, this black woman who they would consider to be regular and low quality, no, they don't think you should be expecting a king who's going to provide for you. No, they're expecting for you to say that you'll take any black man who's even willing to do anything for you because you're not even perfect. That's literally how they're looking at it. And so it is very disappointing to hear these conversations online, but it's also disappointing for me to be thinking like she really thinks that they're taking her serious, and they're not. They're laughing in her face because they know that that's not the case. That's not how dating goes right now, especially in our community.
And we just try to instill that in y'all's head. If y'all forget that, we try to instill that in y'all, and we try to just like
instill what in us?
Y'all instill that.
Instill what?
Instill that. You can do this. You can do that. We motivate y'all. We do all those things that feel as though y'all probably feel as though y'all can't provide. Y'all can't do this. Y'all can't do that.
Get reactions
You understand what I'm saying?
Okay, real quick. So you said a lot there.
Yeah, a whole lot.
One of the things,
so y'all can understand my point.
We understand you.
Okay.
So one of the things that you said there was, you know, the reason why the black man chooses the white woman is because if we just look at the logical entailment of all the things that you said, he chooses the white woman because the black woman is too hard to handle. Seems like he wants something that's easier to handle.
To sum it all
so
up.
So then my question for you is, why would a black man want to handle any woman?
Because it's easier.
No. But listen to the question.
Because it's easier to handle a woman that is not the same race.
That listen. Let me say it again real quick.
Okay, go ahead.
Why would a man want to have to handle any woman? Why, if you get into a relationship and I'm out working and paying the bills and protecting and providing, like you said, why would I want to go home and deal with a woman that I have to handle? Why would I want to deal with more?
Because a black woman has more than just easy shit to just go off of.
No, I think you're missing a point.
Black women are more strong-minded. We have things that we want.
Yeah, that's not the question, though. Okay. Pay attention real quick.
Okay.
So think about it. Men, we go out there fighting dragons. We dealing with the world. We going out there and we're... Well, I mean, I'm saying that we're going out in the workforce and we're competing. In order for us to bring home the...
So the problem that I have with going out and slaying dragons is that most groups are working, men and women. So when you say, "Oh, black men are having to go out there and slay dragons," both people are going out there and slaying dragons. You're not working alone. Both you guys are literally expecting women and men to work. So you're not slaying dragons alone. Both of you are slaying dragons. Both of you are carrying a mental and physical load a lot of the time. So I don't know what this. I mean, he's very remedial. His hands are incredibly tiny. They make me so uncomfortable. But there is no what he's saying. There's no correlation to it in reality.
Money, we have to compete. Life is a competition. So once we leave the house, there's a competition for me to get my paycheck. There's a competition for me to keep my house.
Is that not the same for the woman?
We're speaking about the dynamic that you said. If the man is protecting and providing, right? In that dynamic, the man is out there competing with the world, so then he can bring home the food and the money for the wife and the children. If he is doing that, right? He's doing his job. Why would he then want to come home to a woman?
A black woman.
No, listen. Why,
to a black woman.
Take
say
away.
that. Say
listen,
that.
stop it.
No, say
for
a black
you,
woman.
For you, I need you to understand. Forget about any racists. Just think about this.
Okay.
Why would any man, let's speak about the genders, why would any man want to go home to a woman that he then has to handle and do another job? He's already out there working and doing things. Why would he want to have to come home?
Because she has a mind of her own, because she feels as though she wants more than what she has.
I got it.
Because she feels as though she wants more than
No, you're speaking, once again, you're speaking for the woman. Let's think about the man. So put yourself in a man's perspective.
Okay.
So let's just reverse it real quick.
So basically, he wants women and people to have an oversympathy for men. No, put yourself in the man's shoes. No, you're speaking for the woman. She's a woman. Who else is she gonna speak to? Who else is she gonna speak for as a woman? Men? Okay, let me try to get in the man's shoes. Do men ever try to put themselves in women's shoes? I never see that. He's in his victimhood bag, and he's not getting the reaction he wants. That's why his little Jason Derulo freaking reject over there is not saying anything, because they were trying to get her to say something that she's just not. Actually, I think men love drama, actually. So when you say we don't want drama and you guys are the drama, I don't believe that. So anyways, I'm gonna head out for tonight, guys. I'm gonna come back and I want to do the second half of this video tomorrow. It might be afternoon, it might be day. I did realize again, for some reason my computer is doing 2 different streams. I don't know where the 2 locations are because I only have one restream open right now. But something strange is going on with my YouTube account. So I'm just gonna end now. And I thank you guys so much for coming. I do have some new music, so I'll send you guys off with that. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your Saturday. It's about to be midnight. Maybe somebody has something going on later tonight. Maybe I'll come back if they don't. But at the very least, I'll see you on the next one. So thanks for coming. Bye-bye.
Slick shades on, leather coat tight, moving through shadows under neon light. Whisper clues in the velvet air. Every step's a rhythm, every glance a dare. Cold case files in a gold-plated ride. Smoke rings rise as the truth unties. Diamonds and dust, we follow the trail. Silk tie justice never fair. Midnight's losing a hip-hop haze. Solving the game in a smooth R&B maze. No crown too slick, no clue too small. We catch 'em all with a swipe protocol. Eyes like scanners, touch like silk. Breathe the streets like a glass of milk. Fingerprints hung in a baseline low. Every suspect's got a place to go. Bench floors with his bartender knows. Secrets spill with the jasmine blow. Money talks but the cups don't lie. Another case filed under the sky. Midnight's losing a hip-hop haze. Solving a game in a smooth R&B maze. No crown too slick, no clue too small. We catch 'em all with a swipe protocol.